Great.
Okay, thank you for everyone's patience. Good afternoon and welcome to the May 19th, 1 p.m. docket for the Board of Municipal and Zoning Appeals. My name is Justin Williams. I am the Interim Executive Director of the BMZA. The board members here this afternoon are Liz Cornish, the Chair, Leland Shelton, and Ryan Hargrave. We asked everyone here, please turn off your cell phones. This hearing is being recorded by a court reporter who's there in the blue shirt and also by the cameras above for Charm TV. So we ask that if you need to have a private conversation or any conversation at all, please do so in the hallway or the lobby. We'll be calling the cases generally in the order of the docket. When we call the case, we ask that the applicant come forward, sit at the trial table to the right. When it's your turn to talk, introduce yourself, spell your name for the court reporter, and take an oath before giving testimony. If you haven't already done so, if you're here to intend to speak on any topic, either in favor or opposed to a case, we ask everybody please sign in on the sign-in sheet in front of the Department of Planning staff, Justin Walker. Again, everyone who's planning to speak, attorneys, applicants, those in favor, those opposed, must sign in. The board will be voting on your appeal today, probably, but that vote is not final. By law, we must prepare a written document called a resolution, which requires drafting and review. This process takes several weeks, and we'll send it to you by email. And if you're the appellant, you'll be able to access it through Acela. As I announced before the hearing started, we had a medical issue with one of our board members, so we only have 3 members today. Under the city charter, typically, when there's 5 members, you need 4 to vote in favor for the appeal to be approved. When you have 4 members, you need 3. In this circumstance, when there's 3 members, we'll need all 3 to unanimously approve the case to go forward today. So you'll need three votes unanimously if your appeal is approved. So because of that, we are offering an opportunity for any applicant to postpone for 2 weeks or more in light of the fact that we only have 3 members of the board today. Otherwise, we'll proceed as normal and we'll need a unanimous vote. So if there's any party that wishes to postpone, please let me raise your hand and come in, we'll talk.
2668 Curly Street.
Do you want to get that on the record, I guess, or Mr. Court Reporter, doesn't matter? Okay, so from Mr. Cadenzi, it's to 26.
26068 701 South Curly Street, and applicant with respect to request postponement. On the second page.
Yeah. And do you go on the June 2nd docket?
I think I'm going to be here, but on June 2nd.
What do you want to? Well, you can call the office if you want to set a new date.
I'll know tomorrow.
So Ms. Gradensky will call the BMZ office to confirm the new hearing date for 26-068.
Question. How do I get advance notice of this hearing date?
Are you here for that case?
Yes, sir.
Do you sign in, Miss? Okay. We will also advise. So I have. Can I get your name, sir?
Gary McFallon.
Yep, I have it here. Gary.mcfallon@gmail.com. I have your information here, and I will make sure you're aware. And then also we encourage the parties, if you haven't had a chance to talk before here, start to have a conversation. Sometimes people can work out differences and share information that might avoid the need for, opposition.
Last question. I submitted a memo in association with this case. Is that going to be automatically transferred? Or
It'll be in the case file. The board will read that in advance of the hearing or at the hearing whenever it's held. The question for the record was about if a memo of opposition will be heard by the board or read by the board in advance of the next hearing whenever it's set back in, and the answer is yes, the board will have it in their records and they will have access to it. And I'll read any written correspondence for any case ahead of time. Thank you for your support. And thanks for rolling with the punches here and not being too aggrieved here. Sorry, we're really sorry with the health issue we've had last minute. There are, other than the case just postponed, that's again 26-068, 701 South Curly Street will be postponed, a date to be set in after the board staff hears from council There are 3 other cases that are postponed. 25-201, that's 3804 Eastern Avenue. That case is postponed with failure to post. 25-213, that's 3114 West North Avenue. That case has also been postponed with failure to post. And then 26-067, that is 1006 to 1008 Dundalk Avenue. A case is also postponed. And with that, Mr. Chair, I think we are ready to proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. I would like to let everyone know, please turn off your cell phones. If you want to have any conversations, please have them outside in the hallway. I'm going to make a slight adjustment to the order of the docket. I'm going to call, for efficiency's sake, I'm going to call out conditional use cases first. So now calling case 26-4, 3715 Bonneville Avenue, Tiffany Davis is the applicant. The purpose of the appeal is to use as a daycare center for adult or children, 15 children requiring a conditional use approval. First, we'll hear from planning and staff.
Good afternoon. Justin Walker, Department of Planning, on Appeal 26-0004. The request is for a conditional use daycare for up to 15 children. We understand that the site has been in use as a daycare home, which allows up to 8 children by right, and they're now expanding that to 15. The typical planning recommendation of the loading zone is absent from this case, as the property has a large side yard that has a lot of street frontage that we believe is sufficient for pickup and drop off with no loading zone. So on the conditional use, planning recommends approval of the appeal.
Thank you. Miss, will you please be sworn?
You swear or affirm that penalty of perjury that the testimony about the interview is true?
Yes, thank you.
You may be seated, ma'am.
Tiffany Davis.
Tell us about your application.
Real quick, Ms. Davis, would you mind turning on your microphone to see the latest screen? Thank you.
Sorry.
Tell us about your project.
So I have been doing childcare since 2003, and I've been operating at this location since 2004. I'm licensed for 8 children, and would like to expand and bring in an aide to help assist me with moving forward into retirement. Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about your hours of operation and plans for pickup and drop off?
Right now, I'm licensed from 6 a.m. to midnight. I have been accepting children basically from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The parents park on the front of the property or on the side of the property and mainly enter through the side gate, which leads to the back door.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions for the applicant?
No questions. No questions.
Does anybody object to adopting the recommendations of the planning department?
No objections.
Okay. Given what I've heard today, I found no reason why the establishment of a daycare center here will lead to any adverse consequences that go above and beyond what we should expect anywhere else. So we're going to adopt the recommendations of a planning which recommends approval with no conditions. So I'm a yes for the application.
Also, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Now calling case 2652, 600 Rapola Street. Malad Atashi, the applicant. The purpose of the appeal is to add outdoor seating to a retail goods establishment requiring a conditional use approval. First, we'll hear from planning and staff. Well, is the applicant here? 2652, 600 Rapola Street. Okay. I'm gonna move on to 5322 Denimore Avenue. Kimberly Joshua is the applicant. The purpose of the appeal is to use as a daycare center for 30 or less children requiring a conditional use approval. Is the applicant here? 5322 Denmore Avenue. On to the next one. Now calling case 2660, 4005 Hamilton Avenue. Jessica Cabell is the applicant. Cabell? Yeah. The purpose of the appeal is to use as a daycare center with 12 or less children requiring a conditional use approval. First, we will hear from planning and staff. You may be seated.
Good afternoon. So this is again a conditional use request to use the property as a daycare for up to 12 children. And again, for the pickup and drop-off area, there's no recommendation to reach out to the parking authority, as there is off-street parking in the front yard that can be used for loading and unloading of children. So planning recommends approval of the appeal.
Thank you. My man, will you stand and be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tell us what brings you here today.
Yes, I currently own a child care. I've been in operation for about 8 years. I am trying to extend it to 12 children. Currently licensed for morning and evening and weekends. I currently run the business along with staff. So I have a private driveway, so parents can park right in front of my lot. And that's pretty much it.
Any questions of the applicant?
No questions.
Are there any objections to adopting the recommendations of the planning department?
No objections.
Okay. Ma'am, after reading your application and hearing your testimony, I find no reason why the establishment of a daycare center here from 8 to 12 children will lead to any adverse consequences that go above and beyond what we expect anywhere else. And so I vote yes to adopt the recommendations of the recommendations for approval from the planning department with no conditions.
Also, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now calling case 2668, 701 South, 2672, 3602 West Rogers Avenue. The purpose of the appeal is to add as an entertainment is to add live entertainment requiring a conditional use approval.
All right, 3602 West Rogers Avenue. The property is an existing restaurant. It's in the C2 zoning district. And so conditional use to add live entertainment is being requested. And planning is recommending approval of the appeal with one condition, that the live entertainment and any amplifiers or speakers associated with the live entertainment be limited to the interior of the property due to the proximity of residential zoning and dwelling units.
Good evening, council. Will your client be speaking today?
Yeah, I'll be speaking for her, and I may have one extra person.
If you have anybody who you think might speak, could you please have them stand and be sworn?
You can stand. Ricky wants to.
Sure. All those here to testify, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tell us about your application.
This is an application for live entertainment. In fact, this is like a redo. It's been in here once or twice before. They never picked up the application, the permit. The last time it was in 2021. At that point, there was an approval for the interior, and the question about the exterior was still problematic at that time. And the board, and I'll read from the board's decision, the appellant may reapply for outdoor live entertainment after 1 year has passed after the board's denial with regard to the outside. That's been more than that 1 year. They're without incident. There's probably 7 or 8 people from the neighborhood here that are in favor of this having the outside. I have to apologize because my client just brought in a petition in support today. It was about 100 people in an immediate neighborhood that are in favor of this live entertainment. She's been a licensee there for the last 5 or 6 years without incident. And as indicated, I think it's a needed amenity. And with regard to the business, because I know the business, it's tough at this point. They need a little something sometime to add to the business to make things go. Otherwise, the places are closing right and left. And she's fully cognizant of the fact that, of course, if she abuses it and there's a problem, then, of course, there'll be a violation. But based on what has been indicated, I don't think there'll be any problem with regard to what the planning, other than they need the outdoor entertainment. It's not every day either. It's only mainly on the weekends they'll have something. I have these petitions. We submit them to you either way. Mark them as our Exhibit A1 or whatever you want to do it. And as I indicated, we have about 6 or 8 people from the neighborhood here. I just, if you want them to have them all stand up, and then I'll have one witness who'll testify.
I'll take your word for it.
That's first.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened? There was that, I believe that there was an approval in 2021, but a permit was never issued.
The issue was that they wanted to have the outside, and when it was approved for indoor but not outdoor. And that's when the board says, well, reapply a year later. If there's any problems, no problems, then they would be considered by the board, which has been more than that. For whatever reason, whoever did the appeal, they dropped the ball about picking up the permit for the indoor entertainment on the thing.
Had there been any sort of major modifications to the interior of the space
Everything's
since?
the same as was the last time they applied.
Okay. And so you're aware of the planning department's recommendations?
I'm aware. They
Do you
gave it
have
to me.
any
The only thing we would
objections?
add is that they said that no outside, and we were asking for the outside with the inside.
Okay. So you're asking for outside with inside? Okay. So tell us about your plans, more about your plans for noise, sort of.
Well, they have sound absorbent material. They'll take decibel readings to make sure they don't go over the decibel readings permitted by the health department, and they'll monitor the area. As indicated, it's a neighborhood place. If you see, there's 8 or 9 people coming in from the neighborhood. If it was not a neighborhood place, you wouldn't have people. It's tough to get people to come down anywhere, especially in this heat. For them to come down, I applaud them for them. As the outside, they don't plan on having entertainment outside past 11 o'clock or so at night, probably before that, so the sound doesn't carry.
Okay. Have you had any discussions with sort of any neighborhood associations representing the area? What have they been like?
Well, the discussions you have with most of the neighborhood is here, and they're all in favor of it. And there's been no opposition from it because they're a business that really caters to the neighborhood. And for the people that come down, it shows that they are in favor of having this added amenity to the business.
And so I'm assuming there will be exterior speakers.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll have any real loud outside. There'll just be speakers attached to the building. And then as you looked at the place, it backs up to another building, so it's not as though the sound's going to carry anywhere past that building. And if it does, they'll make sure they monitor it and walk around. If they get any complaints, they'll take it down. One of the individuals that had testified on the other case, I think, wants to say a few words at this time, and would ask that the board approve the outside, along with the inside.
Sure.
Oh, I just had a question. In terms of the outside live entertainment, as we're looking on the Google Maps here, are you anticipating it being on that front patio or back in the rear parking lot?
It could be on both at a time, depending if it's a small thing, they may just keep it on both, But like I say, you can look at that area there. There's quite of a expanse where they could have it, and as you can see, the way the things are facing, they'll be facing away from most of any of the housing that's there.
Mm-hmm. Would you be amenable to having outdoor live entertainment end at 10 p.m. instead of 11?
How about 10:30? Maybe we'll middle it. How's that?
Did you say one of your clients wanted to speak?
Well, one of the gentlemen testified the last time. Do you want to get up and testify? Because you were here the last time. And explain what What your testimony was the last time?
Could you make sure that light is green? Thank you.
And state and spell your name.
Yes, Rick, R-I-C-K, Leandry, Leandry.
You had provided testimony the last time.
Yeah.
When they were, and it's basically your testimony the same. Is there anything you want to add because you helped them with regard to this application?
Sure. So I've been assisting the constituent trying to get the outdoor live entertainment. He had did Miss Marie's Angela's partner had did a back to school thing in partnership with, I think it's Pimlico Principal Hunter across the street, and then I think he wanted to consistently do that, but when we tried to get the live entertainment license, it got pushed back. So I actually spoke at the hearing for her, and we didn't have Mel back then. I think you were here, and the condition was as long as they didn't have any infractions over a year, reapply. It's been maybe 5 years. It's no issues, no incidents, and excuse me, they just want to do like events maybe like twice a month. It's not like a everyday outdoor thing. The patio, I think last time we discussed also, the patio out front, it was like right around pandemic time. So you guys did approve that. So they do have like Bose little speakers where you can eat outside, you can hear some music. But I think he wants to do like, and Miss Angela wants to do like back to school things. They want to do, you know, a couple events twice, 4 times a month at most. And they've been in business like 30 something years. Like everybody goes there to get Caribbean food.
These events, are they gonna happen primarily on the weekends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Always on the weekend. It wouldn't be no Monday night, 12 a.m. Caribbean Fest.
Was that an issue at the last hearing?
Say that again.
Was that an issue at the last hearing?
No, you specifically said if we go a year without an infraction, we would be good.
Okay. I think that was my first year when I'm trying.
I remember you saying that too.
Yeah.
It was another young lady with you too that was kind of new.
Yeah, I remember that.
As we digress,
Yeah.
I don't see any issue. While there are a few houses nearby, the overall position of the restaurant, it feels more like a commercial corridor to me. And so therefore, I think we have to sort of take that into consideration, that, you know, these are folks that live near not just this business, but other businesses along the street. And I think what they're proposing in terms of live entertainment is not going to be, you know, a live band
Right.
out in the parking lot
Yeah.
nightly. It's going to be targeted. And
You know, to the west, you know, there is residential. I know to the rear, there's a 7-Eleven. We don't have any opposition from any of those, you know, sort of adjacent property owners, which to me, you know, sort of makes me feel a lot more comfortable with granting some outdoor live entertainment, especially within that rear space. Also, they have posited that they are going to adopt certain soundproofing methods, including decibel readings. I think I would want to incorporate that into our conditional use if we do approve. Any other questions for the applicants?
none.
Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll clarify the conditions
Yeah.
or what specifically the soundproofing or decibel readings.
Yeah. Have you guys submitted, remind me, did you guys submit a noise mitigation plan in your application?
I believe so. I think the first time we did.
from before, but what they would do, what I've recommended is that they have somebody keep a book and they go out and have somebody take decibel readings every half hour when they're having outdoors and keep a record of that so they can see when the thing spikes or doesn't spike. That book would be available in case anybody wants to come take a look at it. Or listen to the music.
Might be
Okay.
harder to operationalize, but I guess we'll
Yeah.
defer to the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a default. I think that's a best practice, not
Yeah, it's a high
necessarily a
burden, though.
condition. That
Regular decibel readings or regular, you know,
I just.
that's a very general term.
I think.
Undertake best efforts to
Yeah,
mitigate
yeah,
neighborhood
yeah.
complaints,
If any.
if any.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable approving this without any conditions, because I think it muddies the
Yeah.
water a little bit.
You know
Like,
what?
we just have to
You
commit,
know?
and I would say after, like, no noise after 11 PM.
Yeah.
If you do, we could probably put a condition during the week that it has to end earlier, because obviously, once we approve it, they can have it any day, even though they were saying weekend only. Sorry to interrupt you.
I guess that is something I was.
Make sure
are we
your
saying
microphone's
it
on,
can't-
too.
I'm sorry. Are we saying it can't be after 11? Like, I don't know if that, when you think of going to like a Jamaican restaurant and having a good time on a Saturday night, like, I don't know if 11 is,
That's what their attorney asked for.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, you wanted it at 11, okay.
I found that in the restaurant business, it's hard after, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Before COVID, people, you had to kick them out at 1. Nowadays, they don't, occasionally, it's not if there's a special event or something like that.
Right, I forgot that came from, yeah, I think
Yeah.
11 approved
Okay.
is fine.
Just to make clear that you guys do not have any plans for weekday use of outdoor live entertainment?
Well, Memorial Day is Monday, so if it was a holiday,
Right.
Right, and
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
I think, like, we
Yeah.
just have to figure out if we want to put any conditions on Monday through Thursday or Sunday through Thursday.
And as I think about it, we have here an applicant, we don't have opposition from any, from a neighborhood association, from any of the adjacent property owners. They seem to be a business owner that are doing, the right things to be sort of a credit to their community. And so, this would be an opportunity, I think, to, not sort of weigh down their, their business at this stage.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't be opposed to maybe no conditions, out sort of best efforts and noise mitigation, but nothing on like hours,
Yeah,
anything like that.
So do you want to do hours or do you do not?
Sorry, days of the week. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Then we'll just keep it, the condition is, let's just, because of the proximity to some residences, I think 11 PM is reasonable.
Yeah.
For outdoor, live entertainment. So,
Okay.
Every day of the week.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure Mr. Kadensky would advise his client, but the liquor board also has a process. So if, in the event, unlikely that neighbors were opposed, there would be, the annual renewal process would be their venue to share their grievances, and that would have a review by the liquor board.
Yeah. That would
So
be more of a liquor.
there is extra level of review if things were to get out of hand.
And so, if nothing else from this panel or from the applicant, after hearing today's testimony and reviewing the application, it does not appear that establishing live entertainment outdoor use here at this location will lead to any adverse consequences that will go above and beyond what we would expect anywhere else within the zoning district. And for those reasons, I am a yes to the conditional use with the conditions discussed today.
Also a yes to conditional use, adding the hours outdoor entertainment ending at 11 PM.
Also, yes.
You can get them to spell my name right.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now calling case 2683, 604 North Utah Street. Marinette Kamga is the appellant. The purpose of the appeal is to use the first floor as a healthcare clinic requiring conditional use approval.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
Yes, that's nice. Wow. That is a rare. First, we hear from planning and staff.
Ready? Okay, 2683, 604 North Utah Street. is a conditional use request to use the property as a healthcare clinic. Planning is recommending approval of this appeal with the stipulation that any exterior changes to the building will need to be approved by CHAP, as this is in the Seton Hill CHAP district.
Could you please stand and be sworn, man?
Do you swear or affirm on the penalties of perjury that the testimony about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you state spell your name?
Marinette Kemger.
Hold on, tell us what brings you here today.
So I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been doing primary care. I used to go to patients' home for like 5 years now. I'm looking for a building actually to provide that services. So I'm going to be doing a lot of diagnostics, blood work, seeing patients, like a clinic. So I'm not going to do any renovation outside. It's just going to be a simple clinic. People come in for consultation, we diagnose, we do testing, and that's all we're going to be doing.
Okay, will you be dispensing any medication on
Yes, I'm a
site?
provider, so I'll be writing medications.
Okay. Will there be any modifications, exterior modifications to the building?
No.
Could you tell us more about your anticipated hours of operation, including days of the week, and also anticipated patient value, daily patient value?
So it's going to be a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Okay,
I need my weekends off.
okay, yes.
Yeah, so we're doing like from 18 above to indefinite. We're not doing kids, just
Okay,
pure adults.
okay. Do you have a, can you give us an estimate of how many patients you expect to see each day?
Let's say like maybe 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. If there are no questions for the applicant, are we fine with adopting the findings from the planning department?
Did he read? I'm ready to vote.
Okay, yes. So, after reviewing the application and today's testimony, I found that establishing a healthcare clinic use on the first floor of this property will not lead to any negative consequences that will go above and beyond what we expect anywhere else within the zoning district. And so I'm a yes for this conditional use.
Also, yes.
Also, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now calling case 2691, 111 West Mulberry Street, Chase Hopperberger for the applicant. The purpose of the appeal is to use as a residential care facility for up to 50 residents, requiring a conditional use approval. First, we will hear from planning and staff.
111 West Mulberry is a C5 HT zoning district where residential care facilities with more than 17 residents are a conditional use. The proposed facility will support up to 50 residents. We understand that the site is a former rooming house that's being transitioned to a residential care facility for inpatient treatment. For the residential care facility, planning is recommending approval of the appeal with some conditions for safety. The conditions being that security cameras and lighting be maintained on the exterior of the structure and controlled access to the building be provided.
Thank you. Could you guys stand and be sworn?
Please testify, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm on the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Hofberg, we're bringing you here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm here with Harvey Chambers to my right and Ivan Forney to my left, and they are the operators of Reach Behavioral Health Services. They operate a behavioral health services headquartered out of 1 North Charles Street, and they have a number of residential care facilities around the city. This proposal would be to put upwards of 50 or a maximum of 50 beds into 50 residents into 111 West Mulberry Street. So I'll tell you a little bit about the property, and then I'll hand it over to Mr. Chambers here to talk and Mr. Forney to talk a little bit about Reach itself, and then I'll run through some approval standards. So this This property, 113 West Mulberry Street, as Mr. Walker said, used to be a rooming house for my sister's place, which is around the corner on Cathedral. It is a consolidated lot with 113 West Mulberry Street. So in total, the property itself is 7,700 square feet. One of the structures, and the two structures are connected through an interior access door. One of the structures is 4 stories, and the other is 3 stories. The total ground floor area of the property is 13,800 square feet. The property, because of its history as a rooming house, is very equipped for this proposed use. Has large kitchens, has large common spaces, has 24 bedrooms, and it is equipped with all of the life safety systems that are necessary for an R4 type of use, such as an assisted living facility. So in many ways, it is the ideal type of structure for the proposed use. So with that, I'll hand it over and they could talk for a little bit and then I'll get back to the approval standards.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Ivan Fournet. I am the CEO and one of the owners of Reach Behavioral Health. I just want to kind of explain that Reach has been in business for 7 years. So we're very experienced in behavioral health. Our programs are structured, supervised programs. We have a very controlled population. We don't do any administration of any medications. It's just kind of med management. They go out and get their own medications and they medicate themselves. So it's none of that going on any of the properties. Our structured program don't allow us to do that. So I just wanted to kind of let you know that we are very experienced. Mr. Chambers is going to talk about the security. He was a big part of putting all the security cameras up and so forth and so on. So it's going to give you some idea about that.
Can you tell us more about the population that you guys will be serving and on-site staffing needs throughout the week?
Absolutely. We have nurse practitioners that will be coming in and out, social workers that will be coming out, case managers will be coming in and out. None of the clients at this level of care will be leaving the facility whatsoever. There is a space in the back where they will have scheduled smoke breaks, and they're right back in treatment. So they don't come out off the facility. They won't be loitering up front. And they have smoke breaks that's supervised and controlled. We currently service hundreds of Baltimore residents at 1 North Charles. We have several properties, as stated in the opening, several properties in Baltimore City that we use for stabilization. So the clients come to us, they go to group, they have the stabilization where they, after detox, they already been through detox. We don't do detox whatsoever. So we just work with them while they're in treatment, and then we give them more outpatient services as they step down from the programs. That's our ultimate goal, is to take the clients through a quality of life cycle. And that's coming in at the highest level at 3.5. That's an ASAM level for the stabilization. Then we step them down to 3.3, then step them down to 3.2. So these are step downs. And then this is all inpatient. And then they go out to outpatient. No outpatient services are offered at 111 Mulberry.
And I just wanted to add to that. Good afternoon, board members. The moment in which they are referred to us, they are typically transported directly to our site that we're looking to have the conditional use for. At that point, they've been screened, intake sessions have been implemented, and they are identified as a candidate for our program. Services are rendered on site, as Ivan just mentioned. We do and have a plan in place to provide security not only on the exterior of the building, but on the interior as well, for safety and just monitoring of our clients. There's the potential to be up to 30 cameras on site at that location. We have noticed some of the issues in the surrounding area, which, we are very willing and have communicated with community members to let them know that we're here to play our part. We're not here to make the concerns that they may already have worse. That's not what we are bringing to this community. We are going to play our part and make sure that we do anything we can to contribute in a way that we're able to. But our clients don't wander off. They're not going to be the members that unfortunately we see in the communities that are loitering and hanging out on the properties. And we, if we can, we'll reach our hand out and see how we can help. We're not in the business of providing beds for homelessness. However, substance abuse is a priority, and if there's a combination that led to homelessness, then we are a servant that can be a assistance to the community. So we We are very adamant about what we do. Both Ivan and I have histories and family members who engaged and have suffered through substance abuse. Several of them now went through our program, have gotten rehabilitated, and now are employed by us to now reach out and help other members in the community and family as well. So we're committed, and we're very passionate about the work that we do. Thank you for your time.
Any other questions for the applicants?
No questions.
Do you want me to run through their approval standards?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, just starting with the Schultz-Pritz standard, just to reiterate or enforce that there would be no adverse effects in this location above and beyond any other location in this particular zone. This zone is the C5 zone, which, as you know, is the downtown zone. It's a very compact and I would say deliberate zone that has a breadth of uses and a lot of density, and there's a lot going on downtown. And so when the city council approved this particular use in this particular zone, they took into account the understanding that you would very much, that this potential use could be in close proximity to a lot of different other types of uses, office buildings, restaurants, bars, the library, city hall, whatever it is, it's very close. So, in that sense, there's a very kind of deliberate recognition that this particular use does not pose more of an issue in any part of the C5 zone than in any other part. We also note that residential care facilities themselves are permitted by right in the C5 zone. And so really this is about the size. And based on everything you've heard from Mr. Fournier and Mr. Chambers, the size is proportional to the building. And the size does not impact really the activity on the exterior. There will be no activity out front. There will be smoke breaks in the back, but that is a contained area. All the offloading and loading of residents who will be going to various services at 1 North Charles Street will be done in the back via busing. And so there's really going to be no impact also on traffic or off-street loading. It won't impact development in the area. The area is seeing some development in the bottom right-hand corner. You can see that the old Martix building is being developed. There are already a couple residential care facilities in the area, certainly some social services around the corner on Cathedral. That hasn't impacted, and we're confident that this use would be the same. Because there's no activity out front, because there's not going to be any loading out front, it won't impact the accessibility of emergency vehicles. There are no exterior changes planned for the property, so that won't impact any cultural landmarks or historic sites or access to light and air. There will be no impact on the utilities or any other public facilities. And we don't expect for this proposed use to impact the neighborhood character. Downtown's core has many uses. There's a lot going on, as we all know. Finally, I just want to say that this comports with the master plan in a few ways, the city's comprehensive master plan. One is that the plan advocates for a diversity of housing options. And based on the zoning tables, residential care facilities are a housing option. This serves a sector of the city that needs housing and needs a certain type of housing in order to flourish. The other is that the plan advocates for an improvement of wraparound services for those who would benefit from behavioral health support, which certainly we believe that this does. So with all that said, we believe that this proposal meets the purpose and the intent of the zoning code, and we welcome any questions and hope you approve the appeal.
Any questions?
Let me just add to what Chase just said. Our goal is to supervise programs, because we can provide the supervision for our clients that helps the city with unsupervised behaviors. Oftentimes, we find ourselves dealing with these issues in the community. So we're just trying to be a part, do our part, and support the community at the same time. Councilmen want us to have a conversation with Sisters Place. We have every intent to do that, to see what we can do in the community as well. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit, because we're not just here just to open up a facility. We're really here to support the city and its communities.
Any questions for the applicants?
Mr. Hofberger, did this receive any opposition?
We haven't gotten any reports of opposition. We did meet with the Center City Residents Association in April. We met twice with the Market Center Community Development Corporation. and the councilman, right, Councilman Blanchard, talk about some partnership opportunities. Certainly, any residential care facility will get questions. There are concerns that we feel like we've addressed with our security measures, but there's no formal opposition. There was no opposition necessarily.
That was it.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, unlike that, we have what was a former, longtime rooming house that is with a proposed residential care facility. After reviewing the application, hearing their testimony, and reviewing the memo from the planning department and their findings, I do not believe that with the proposed conditions, adding security cameras, ensuring that security cameras are lighting are maintained on the exterior of the building, and that there's controlled access to the building. With those conditions, the establishment of a residential care facility for up to 50 residents at this location will not lead to any adverse consequences that will be above and beyond what we would expect of this use anywhere else within the C5. Is it C5? Zoning district. And so for those reasons, I am a yes for the conditional use.
Also a yes.
Also, yes.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Miss,
Yes, IDAN, FORME.
Hold this here.
Are the other ones? Okay. Second bite of the apple. So, now calling case 26-4, 3715 Bonneview Avenue. Tiffany Davis is the appellant. The purpose of the appeal,
Wait, we already did that one.
oh, we did? I'm sorry,
Yeah, 52.
sorry, 2652, 600 Rapola Street. Malada Tashi is the appellant. The purpose of the appeal is to add outdoor seating to a retail goods establishment requiring a conditional use approval. First, we'll hear from planning and staff. You may be seated.
At 600 Rapola, the request is to add outdoor seating to an existing neighborhood commercial establishment. This required under 14.328 that says the board must authorize any use of an NCE that is outside of the building. It is currently a retail goods establishment. The definition for retail goods establishment does allow for accessory seating in the case of a deli or cafe, which is the case with the property here. The proposed seating is to be located on the front porch, as shown on the screen. And planning is recommending approval of this appeal with the condition that patrons be cleared from the seating by 9 p.m. nightly.
Sir, could you please stand and be sworn?
So you raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm on the penalty of perjury that testimony about to give the truth?
Yes.
And state your name for the record?
Milad Atashi.
Sir, please tell us about your proposed outdoor seating.
I just want to have 4 tables and 8 chairs on the patio you see right there. And it's for a cafe. It's not in the way of any traffic and or any sidewalks or any walkways. And everybody in the neighborhood loves the idea.
Oh, so your neighbors suggested this. Do you have any letters of support?
I don't have any letters, but the neighborhood association, they offered letters, and I just said I don't think there's no use.
Can you discuss a bit about your plans for avoiding any litter or trash control?
I clean 2-3 times a day. I even clean up the neighborhood myself.
Okay. The planning department recommended approval with a condition that outdoor seating ends by 9 p.m. Are you opposed?
No, we shut down at 7 p.m.
Okay. Okay. And it's for on premises consumption of deli items?
Yeah, on
purchased?
premises, yep.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant?
No question. No.
After reviewing your application, hearing your testimony, I believe that the establishment of outdoor seating here at this retail goods establishment will not lead to any, with the condition that outdoor seating be cleared of patrons by 9 p.m. Will not lead to any adverse consequences that are above and beyond what would be expected of a similar outdoor seating at a retail goods establishment within the same zoning district. And for those reasons, I am a yes for the application.
Also a yes.
Also, yes.
Thank you.
I have one question. Do I have to apply for a new use and occupancy under this or no?
Yes, if you haven't already, as part of this BMZ application, you're gonna have to file a new one.
And get a new health inspection, new building inspection?
Right, so, yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
To add this, so the UNO you have to apply for will say, use as retail goods establishment or deli or whatever the use is with outdoor table service. So that'll be the new UNO, and then that'll be building inspection, health inspection,
right, sounds good.
fire maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, good to go?
Yes, thank you.
You guys have a nice day.
Has 55 signed in?
55.
Okay. 2655, 5322 Denmore Avenue, is that applicant in the room? Okay. Moving on to case 25104, 2565 Francis Street. Sharon Brewington is the appellate. The purpose of the appeal is to install a 10-foot fence requiring variances to balking yard regulations. First, we will hear from planning and staff.
Planning didn't do a report.
Oh, this is fun.
This is, unusual, Mr. Chair, so the application should be in your packets. The request was for the variance relief for the front yard setback. I'm sure the applicant can discuss the existing fence, which I think was built without permits, in the front yard. Planning staff and BMZA staff conferred right before the hearing, and we came to the conclusion, from our perspective, a variance would not be needed because of a quirk in the zoning code, honestly, that this appears that there's no front yard requirement in the R8 district. Let me pull this up in the aerial so you see it too. There's no front yard requirement in R8, and therefore you can put something in the front yard. And so the normal rule for fences when they're allowed in the front yard or rear yard up to 4 feet or 6 feet in height doesn't apply here, because you can put basically anything in the front yard by how the zoning code is drafted. Well, I encourage you to, I guess, consider or come to a different conclusion if you deem appropriate, but this was where we landed as a staff, in that this could be permitted. There would still be a design review component. If you see it that way, no matter what, under the zoning code, there's just a street facade issue. Whenever there's a street facade change, design review is a component of the permit process.
Is there any opposition to this case?
There was one letter in the file.
Okay. Letter of file. Okay.
Said it violated HOA and that the fence was already built without a permit, was sort of their.
Okay, well, we don't regulate the HOA, but we can discuss, violations of the permit. We will have to inquire about those, namely whether the fine has been paid, if there was a fine associated with that. Tell us a bit about your project.
Hi, I'm Sharon Brewington. I built a fence to help with, I'm trying to do human trafficking people that been human trafficking with the police department, and also doing a daycare. So I built the fence. For one, I was putting trees there so it could protect the children too. But then my neighbor was complaining about the trees, so I said, well, out of respect, I put the fence up so it won't be on her bricks, because she came out yelling and screaming about me having the trees back close to her property. And so I said, I put the fence there, then when the trees grow up, because her mother smokes every 2 minutes. And so I was saying that when I bring the children out or the people out from my business, that they won't have
the effect of the smoking or whatever, or I could sit on my front. So I could never do that. So I decided, well, I would go put up some trees just to help to tear down the smoking area, because every time she smokes, it comes right into my household. So I said, I put the trees up, and that'll help, it keeps the problem down for me saying anything to her, and it'd be no problem. But then she had a problem with me having the trees up. So I said, well, I put the fence up, that'll help with my business as well. And that way, when the trees grow up, it won't bother them or won't be on their property at all. It'll just fall right into my property. So I thought that was a great idea, and out of respect, I thought that'd be helping them too as neighbors, that I wouldn't be a problem to them. So I don't know then they started complaining about the fence. So my thing is, I'm trying to protect the people that I'm trying to cater to, the children, and also the human trafficking people that I'm trying to get. On one side of my house, they have a rehab place where some people there, they sex offenders and stuff like that. So I felt more comfortable to putting something up there to protect my people that I'm trying to do business with. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I think the fence is very beautiful for the community, and not only that, it takes up all of our property value. The fence that I put up, it takes up property value. I'm sorry. And so I didn't think that would be a problem, and it's very pretty. So I didn't think that it would be a problem. I didn't see why anybody would complain about that. But also, like I said, the young lady, they've been harassing me and doing things every time I do something with my house.
Okay, let's focus about the fence.
Yeah,
That's all-
okay,
that's all we
sorry.
really care about.
So that's why I put the fence there, sir. I'm not out of being smart with anybody, not trying to be that. I'm a Christian person. I try to do my best to work with everybody. I wasn't trying to do anything but just trying to protect what I was trying to do my business, and so I can have a safe daycare and also a safe program where I'm helping the police department, so when people come to my house, they would feel secure.
Okay,
And that's the
anything
only thing I
else?
was trying to do.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
No questions.
We want to give the opportunity for those opposition also speak. Could you stand and be, have you guys all stand and been sworn in?
Oh, no.
Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry.
I can reverse.
Yeah.
For you, if you raise your right hand, you
Yeah.
swear and affirm the testimony you already gave was the truth.
Yes, sir.
And then for everybody else, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about to give was the truth?
Could you guys make sure your microphone is green? Yes. Tell us what brings you here today.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Tamara Hall. I'm the current president of the Justice Place Homeowners Association, located in the Penn North community. Ms. Cole.
My name is Bernadette Coleman, and I am the previous president of Justice Place Homeowners Association.
So we're here today for several reasons. As stated, we do oppose the erection of the fence. The Articles of Incorporation for the HOA, which was established in September of 1995, indicates that one of the things, the association has been in effect since 1995, and it cannot be dissolved except approved by 2/3 of the membership. No such vote ever commenced to dissolve the HOA. We do have copies of the HOA, the Articles of Incorporation, the bylaws, if the board would like to receive those.
I just want to make a point of clarification. The HOA is a private contractual matter, correct?
It is.
I don't believe that we have any, as a zoning board, we're concerned with the land use and zoning article of the city. And so so you have any complaints that emanate from their violation of an HOA agreement, you'll probably have to take that either in the proper venue inside that agreement, which might be the circuit court or maybe mediation. And so what's relevant for here is the land use and zoning code, ma'am. They'll have a chance to speak. You'll have the last word, okay? And so, do you have sort of complaints that do not emanate from any violations of the HOA agreement?
Anything outside of the HOA agreement?
Yeah.
So that's something we'll have
Yeah,
to deal with.
yeah.
Because the HOA says that we cannot have a fence erected that's larger than 48 inches.
Okay.
But you guys are saying that it doesn't.
Yeah, so we're applying the city's zoning code. And so we can't, we have no jurisdiction over any matters outside of the city's zoning code. That is a matter that's probably outside, that is the purview of, it's a private contractual right, private sort of matter between you, the parties. And so you might have to enforce, the HOA agreement in another form. And so to the extent that you have any concerns that their proposed fence is a violation of the city zoning code, that's what we're here to discuss today.
Doesn't the zoning code say something about having access, the connecting lot has to be able to be accessed by any structures that are erected? The address at 2567, which is my address, I cannot get to the side of my house to do repairs and things of that nature. I have periodically been required to, go and recaulk things because the homes have been in existence for 30 years. I cannot get to the area because of where that fence is located. It does not give me the option to get in there. I can show you pictures reflecting that.
Do you have printed pictures?
I do.
Yes. Yeah, let's go ahead and provide us a copy. That would be helpful. So we can add it to the file.
8 and 7 and 8. And can you get that?
Appreciate it.
No, 7 and 8.
65 here. Okay. I just want to make sure I got this right. It's a fence that extends to the front lot line. That's it. That's all we're here to discuss, right?
Right.
10-foot fence on the front lot line.
Yes.
Right.
And you believe your complaint outside of the HOA complaints is that it prevents access to neighboring properties?
Yes.
To their neighboring properties?
Yes.
Okay.
So where that brick front is, at the far right end of my property, going to where she's erected the fence, I have stucco on that side, and it goes to the joint. And periodically, I've had to caulk that area to prevent cracks and water coming in and so on and so forth. I can't do that.
Okay. Is that accessibility, this is a question for staff. Is that accessibility requirement, does it pertain to sort of required yards? Is that, did we once again get into that problem that only pertains to required yards?
I think the rationale for the setback requirement is ostensibly about, I guess, the light and air access from a street. This is an unusual configuration with the Muse being a separate private parcel in the middle. So I think the lot lines are shown here. So this is I'm assuming an HOA-owned parcel in the middle But typically in an R8 district, you'd have a row home on the front lot line, like up to the street, and then there would be no front yard, so there would be no requirement for extra, I guess, visibility, light and air coming in. So I don't think there's about the access. I guess that'd be the question. I don't have the picture in front of me, but seeing if the fence is still on the private property of the applicant.
Okay. Right.
I guess that'd be the question. If it's going over, that's a separate issue. If it is blocking access,
If it's completely on their private property, it's on their private property.
we would hope, I think we would encourage neighbors to cooperate in these situations, but I've been in situations with in private practice where the neighboring property, for one reason or another, did not grant access to do the work necessary.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm sorry.
Director, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
This is the side that you can't see where the fence is. Here, this is all my property that I cannot access. It goes all the way down to the ground.
Yeah. Well, which part?
Like, what am I?
Is this, I think this is the fence.
Right.
It's already built. Ugh.
So it's
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing where the fence is attached to the stucco.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
either.
this is it without it, because right now all you see is the fence at the bottom. You can't even see, anything down here. This goes all the way down to the bottom. We cannot access that property. We can't get a ladder up there to do anything there. We can't go underneath because as you see here, it's directly on the wall.
On the brick.
Yes, it's on the stucco. It's on the stucco side, but the end of the brick and going to the stucco.
And you can't access your own property?
I can't access my property.
You can't access that wall.
The wall.
The wall.
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like, just so that I understand the picture, and the one where we're looking
I
at the
see.
front of the properties,
It's the side.
you're seeing like your house with the stucco side. Is that whole area daylighted in between the properties, or just that little piece in the front?
It's the whole
Whole
area
area.
going down to the ground.
And then, but all the way to the rear of the
all the way
house?
to the rear. Yes.
So
it's complete.
essentially, like there's space that like I could walk, if the fence was not there, I could walk in between
Yes.
the two properties.
Yes.
And then,
It's a very small space, but that is how I access like the joints where there is caulk,
seeing the space.
that prevents the house from.
Saying this.
yeah,
I think this is the space she's talking about.
If they want to be connected.
yeah, that's what I'm having.
I think they're all attached. There's no detachment.
That's the same.
Right, they're all connected because they're townhouses.
Right, so I'm not understanding the space that you need to access that you can't access.
Am I able to come over?
Sure.
Yeah, come on over. I'm just having a hard time.
So you guys all have these pictures?
Yeah, we do.
So what I'm saying is here, it
Uh-huh.
goes from 40 feet up, or 38 feet up, all the way down to the ground. We cannot get over here because the way that this fence
The fences,
sits,
I see.
the way that the
They
fence
can't access
fence
this
sits,
part.
we can't
So this
access-
was taken pre-fence.
Yes, exactly,
Okay.
because we wanted you to see, because right now, all we
This
see is the fence.
over there, you can't access what's right there.
Okay.
The other side.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, and so the wall, just so that I'm clear, let's say that's like,
Okay.
I don't know, 5 feet, 6 feet or something like that. Is it?
The roof is 38 feet high.
Mhm.
Um,
And then that bump out
yes,
with the stucco side that's attached to her home.
yes.
How long is that? Do you know? Like 5 feet?
If her fence is 28 feet
Okay.
at left it's a total of 38 feet from ground to roof.
Sure,
It's
but
38 feet.
house to house, what is the distance between here and here?
I'm not certain.
But ballpark it, 5 feet, 20 feet?
It's not 20, maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
You're talking about here.
Yeah,
to
so
here.
it looks like your home, while attached here, has what I would consider a bump out.
Yes, it does.
So it bumps out into the property.
It does.
And so you have a space like this big.
Yes, yep.
That's stucco. That because the fence basically abuts the house and goes and attaches.
Just on their property, on their brick.
Yeah, so let's say.
So. Yeah.
So the fence attaches here.
Yep.
And then goes out to the side. So let's see this little garden area. And that's attached to their house. And so it's technically that little dirt part is probably your property.
Yes.
And so if the fence is here, you can get in that little dirt property, but you can't get to this part. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else before we allow the appellant to respond?
And not as it relates to this,
Okay.
since we can't talk about the HOA.
Well, I guess I do have a sort of HOA, but sort of germane to the question. Can you talk about, does the HOA own and maintain the central, I guess, plaza?
Common.
Yeah.
They're looking at Florida, that's why.
The common area
Right.
is that courtyard
Yep.
that you see there. The front of the street, the parking lot, the did you say this? I said the front of the street. They're on the Francis Street side.
Okay.
Yes. So the way the houses sit is Francis Street, where the Francis Street goes down north and south, and our houses face one another into that courtyard. Right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna turn it over now to the applicant to
Thank you. First of all, we don't have no HOA. I bought this house in 2023.
I don't care about HOA.
We don't have it.
I don't, no, this is
Okay,
about zoning,
okay.
zoning board.
So, no, they had brought it up, so I'm just bringing it back to your attention. Then this property, the way my fence is, that's my property. So this is brick right here. It's no stucco there. That's all brick. This is my property that I have the fence on. And in the very place where we made sure that we was, with the coding, the man made sure that we was offer her property.
All right, so if I hear you correctly.
And that's what it is. So I don't know.
It's on your brick.
Right, it's on my brick. So I don't understand why when I put the trees there, she said that my trees was too close to her brick. So I put the fence there. Now she's saying the fence is too close to her brick. So nothing that I'm doing is good enough for her. Now, if I pull the fence a little further back down, then she would not be access to that because that's still my property. This is right here. Can I come to you guys?
No, I see it.
Okay.
I think I get it now.
where she said this brick is right here, that's my property. So that's where I would that's where I would cut my grass at, is right here. Where you go into the little hole in little cubby. That's my property.
Yeah.
That's my property line. That's not her property line.
Right.
So you can't take over my property line saying
begins on the other
because
side.
Right. So you saying you want me to move my fence because you can't get to some brick. Well,
I'm gonna drop a pin in this right now.
That's how they made the house.
So just I'm gonna drop a pin.
Okay.
You're saying that the fence is attached to your home.
My home and only my home, not hers.
You're claiming that little side is your property anyway. But even if it wasn't,
yes,
the fence is attached to your home, so she can't access it. Shame on her.
Yes, because it's my stuff.
Okay, so
So why
sounds
are
like
we
to me that's a
arguing about
private
something that's
contract. This is a
mine?
private land
Right.
dispute
I don't
between
understand
landowners.
that.
This isn't a zoning dispute, that portion of it.
Yes.
So anything else you want to add before we deliberate?
I'm just saying, all I'm saying, that's my property, so I don't know why
Heard. I
Okay,
hear
that's-
both your
that's it.
positions.
That's all right.
The one question I had, although I'm not even sure if it's germane, but I think it's worth pulling out is, I guess, this is the sketch and we see the photos of the fence, I guess. And do you consider it a fence? I guess it seems unusual design.
Where's the privacy?
Yeah, it's not finished because I did something stupid, which I do apologize for, and I corrected that. And they told me to stop doing it because she was complaining about it, so I stopped doing it. It actually wood goes
You didn't
inside
follow
to
permit.
match mine.
They told you to stop doing it because you didn't follow permit.
Yeah,
Not
that's I
because
said I
you
did
didn't
something
complain about it.
stupid,
Yeah.
and right,
Yeah.
and I had my permit now.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be actually it is see through. It's still see through
Mhm.
and everything, and you just put a little wood there.
Okay.
That's how I supposed to.
I think we might have some threshold issues to discuss. I just got everything on the record just in case not, but I think we might have some threshold issues to discuss. But first, do we know if design review is required? Because is this a street facing?
That is a gray area in which, I have not confronted this issue
Look like a
before.
courtyard.
Right, because normally, this is an older subdivision. More recent subdivisions have tighter regulations about these sorts of things. This one from the 90s, 30-year-old homes. I don't know how they're treated for that street frontage purpose. I'm assuming the applicant, she applied for a permit pending the resolution of this, so then the permit still has to go through the process.
Yes.
And I think I would, I guess I would.
It got approved.
And maybe that'd be the board's determination, if you feel compelled or feel there's enough area to say it needs to do design review under the zoning code, under, I think it's 5-4.
Do we know if that's a public street?
I'm sorry?
It appears to be a courtyard.
Yeah, it doesn't connect, and so you can actually
Okay.
see now that I'm looking at it this way. Here's the tricky part,
Yeah,
but that's just not our problem.
right, yeah.
So I guess like for me, the confusion was, what is the front yard? What is the what?
Right.
And
Typically, the front yard, it gets this definition based on the street frontage that gives the address. So typically, if this were Francis Street, your front yard would be the Francis Street side. Here, it's not quite as clear and cut, although it seems like the parties, everyone sort of agrees, the front door, like everyone treats this courtyard as the front of the home.
But this isn't, the placement of the fence is not on the
Well,
street
if it
front.
were in the rear, that'd be a different thing, 'cause there are rear setback requirements, but this is sort of a gap in the zoning code that hadn't contemplated people building a fence in an R8 district. I think it's a quirk, because most R8 homes are on row homes on a street. This is just a different layout that is unusual.
But it is in the R8 zone. It's a property, it's a detached home located in the R8 zone that has no requirements for a front yard, but there is a front yard.
Yeah.
Heard. Well,
Yeah, I think I co-sign your intuition that this would be a private HOA matter if the HOA still exists or not, but that would be, the covenants would they have to enforce, if any, about
yeah.
work without a permit or work without approval of HOA.
I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts about whether or not the zoning code is even applicable to this dispute. A plain reading of the zoning code, I think it's clear that the zoning table that applies here only applies where a required yard exists. In the R8 zoning district, there is no minimum front yard requirement. And so just a plain reading, it appears, of the zoning code appears to not require a maximum 4-yard fence, front yard fence, because there are no required front yards here. And so, in theory, a homeowner could build, what's up to 35 feet?
15 feet for an accessory structure.
Yeah.
And I guess it could be a fence, it could be any accessory.
Yeah, this is an accessory structure, completely within, on that lot line, it appears. Because of that, and I'm sorry, I do not believe that that there is any relief that we can provide for this issue. I believe that, and for that issue, I don't believe a variance is needed. Is there any, but are we in agreement here as a board?
Yeah, I think I understand when you have property like this where you might want to create uniformity or you might want to create certain rules, but that's what an HOA is for. That's not related to the zoning code. And so this is just outside of our purview.
Yeah. And so to the extent, I would encourage the parties to read their HOA documents and perhaps engage counsel if they want to have any further disputes. But as far as this is concerned, this is not a zoning board matter.
Yes.
So no variance is required. So there would be no vote.
Okay, thank you.
I guess maybe just.
But I will say that you cannot.
I guess to resolve, I guess that.
That's open
the 3-0
violation.
would vote with that, you agree that.
Yeah, there's an open violation, and so still no work can resume until that violation is cleared. Did you pay the fine? Did you also pay the fine?
I paid that up, yes.
Okay,
I paid all that up, and I also got the permit.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't have no violation.
So there's no open violation then?
No, sir.
Justin, could you check that? Yeah. Okay.
So, the permit that triggered this appeal was denied. Don't see any other, so the permit that was filed for this fence was BRCM-25-015981, which was denied, which is technically led to the appeal for this. So with this vote, assuming we proceed, then that would, I guess, allow that permit to be, I guess, revived and then completed through the review process, and then would be issued with a penalty payment and any other reviews that need to happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So who you want me to go talk to?
Well, so once the board votes, I guess there will be a written decision that'll be brief, basically memorializing what took place here for city purposes.
So-
Then you will have to go through you or contractor, whoever applied for the permit, will need to go through and complete the review process to get that permit issued. And then that'll be good from the city side. It sounds like there may be future litigation between the parties about this.
Yeah. Is
going
there
forward.
any is there consensus that that a variance is not required here at this location?
Yes.
And so I think that would probably be the resolution. Do not begin any work until you receive a resolution in the mail.
Okay,
from this
from
board.
you guys.
Yeah.
From you guys, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution and a permit.
And the permit.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yes,
Sure.
yeah, and the permit.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. We done?
Yes, yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Now calling,
Can I take a short break?
yes, so we're gonna go off the record for 5 minutes. Okay, now calling case 2662, 4301 Woodridge Road. Mary Rose Spears, on behalf of the Central Church Christ, is the appellant. The relief request is variances to the parking yard regulations for a 42-space accessory parking lot with a 6-foot perimeter fence. First, we'll hear from planning and staff.
Okay, so 4301 Woodridge Road is located in an R5 zoning district. The requested relief is a variance for both the front yard and the corner side yard. It'll be a full variance as the parking lot and fence will extend to the lot line. This variance is necessitated because the rear, the property is addressed onto Woodridge Road, which is the road behind the structure. And the zoning code identifies the front yard as the address portion of the property. And that resulted from a couple of subdivisions, or lot consolidations rather, over the years. So therefore, even though architecturally the building appears to front onto Emerson Avenue, zoning-wise, legally, it's fronting onto Woodridge Avenue. And parking is not a permitted encroachment in the front yard. So therefore, a full variance for each is needed. As reflected in the staff report, planning found that to be an exceptional circumstance under 5308. The property could, in theory, go to property location, change the address to Emerson Avenue, and then this would be a by right project. So due to those considerations, planning recommends approval of the requested variance.
And then for the board members, most of the correspondence we received is in their binder. There was one that came in from Councilman Gray just this afternoon, so I put it in their binder in tab 4. Essentially saying, he even says, I do not intend to submit a letter of support or opposition at this time, but it's basically encouraging dialogue and an MOU if necessary.
Okay, do we have anybody here who plans to speak in opposition today? So I want to have everyone who plans to speak stand and be sworn in. And as you speak, please state and spell your name.
Swear or affirm that the perjury that the testimony about the giving.
Okay, thank you. First, we will hear from the applicant. And after the applicant speaks, we will hear from any opposition in the room. And the final word will be from the applicant before we decide or deliberate. And so, Mr. Barry, what brings you here today?
Well, thank you. Al Barry, AB Associates, representing the church today. With me is Reverend Noonan, who will testify as to the church's interaction with the neighborhood and perhaps its history. As planning recognized, this is an unusual situation with the property that's been consolidated over many years, has actually 5 street frontages. If you wanted to address each of these street frontages, either at Gelston or Woodridge or Edmondson Avenue even, which is the front of the church itself. So we're here because none of those addresses were ever thought of being changed so that the front yard became the actual front yard as opposed to the rear yard. But the address of this property that the church bought and was a vacant, dilapidated structure in and of itself comes about because of their need for additional parking. I know it's not necessarily a reason for the variance, but I think it's illustrative to look at the Edmondson Village Shopping Center, which is across Edmondson Avenue, and which a parking lot, which is just to the, to the right on the slide, that parking lot is in the process today of being redeveloped into some pad sites for commercial development. And so the parking that historically has been able to be used by the church now is being reduced substantially. So this parking lot itself comes about because of the need to replace that parking so that the parishioners will not come and park on the neighborhood streets. So that's why we're here. Technically, though, we need a variance because of the as planning said, that if the address was on Edmondson Avenue, this would be considered the rear property line and not need a variance. I will also add that we had a review with the City Site Plan Review Committee about this, and the landscaping plan and all layout and access was approved. And I can go through the standards later on, but I'd like to have a representative of the church talk about their history with the neighborhood and their interaction with the neighborhood.
Sure.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Norman J. Newton Jr., the minister of the Central Church of Christ. And just want to let you know, we've been a part of the Edmondson Village community for over 50 years, since 1974. Our congregation as a whole has been in existence for over 85 years. And for decades, we have served the spiritual needs of the community as well as the everyday practical needs as well. We have hosted on an annual basis and consistently throughout the years clothing giveaways, health screenings, free food distribution, school supplies, youth programming, and financial literacy as a part of that to meet essential needs of the community. We have utilized a daycare center service that was operational, as well as senior housing for our aging members to ensure they had safe and supportive environments. While some of these services may not be currently active, they do reflect our long-standing commitment to meeting real community needs. We are strong proponents within the community for our young people in education. Since 2003, our church has provided over $226,000 in scholarship funds to help children to be able to go and pursue higher education. This is not just giving, but it's also planning needs for our future. And each August, we have a large-scale community day that brings together community members. We have 30 to 40 vendors from local, city, and state, and we serve about 1,500 to 2,000 individuals on that particular day. We do blood pressure, health screenings, youth physicals, provide free haircuts, book bags, school supplies for the kids, housing resources, counseling services, and free food and games for the kids. This is something that's done on an annual basis. Along with that, we support local shelters, providing toys, clothing essentials, serving seniors with care packages. We provided thousands of pallets of food, pounds of food, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. We support the local schools as well as families for over a decade. We have a partnership with Edmondson Village High School. We are the emergency evacuation center. We also are on their priority provider list as well. We don't just talk about community, we actually actively serve it. And on a broader sense, the Central Congregation has a reach beyond just Baltimore. Our congregation has helped to establish and staff churches in Annapolis, Maryland, Cambridge, Maryland, Wilmington, Delaware, and York, Pennsylvania. And I stand here today as living proof of that investment. I was raised up in a congregation in Cambridge, Maryland on the Eastern Shore, where Central established over 40 years ago. And I've recently come back and now been blessed to be able to return and be able to serve as a minister of this church. Today, due to the redevelopment and expansion of the Edmondson Village shopping center, we have lost significant parking access. We have a 400-member congregation. This has created hardship for our members, particularly our seniors, those who operate with disabilities, families of young children, as well as others. We're respectfully requesting a 42-space parking lot on our property. This request is not just for expansion's sake. This is to help us to restore access, ensuring safety, and allowing us to continue to serve effectively. We are currently utilizing other resources because we've been disenfranchised. We have ongoing conversations with the current administration and also with Westside Skills Center. We're shuttling some of our members from across the street, which is not the most convenient thing to be able to do. So this has disenfranchised us in a great way. We don't want to be a hindrance to the community at all. In reference to this appeal, we are just requesting access to more parking on property that we currently own. This will help us to continue to support the church that has served for generations, ensuring access to seniors as well as families, and continuing outreach that impacts thousands each year, preserving a legacy of service, faith, and community investment. As a Central Church, we want to be a blessing to the community, we want to be a blessing to the city and beyond state lines. We're simply asking for the ability to continue the work that we have been doing to serve, to support, and to strengthen. And I want to thank you for your time and your consideration.
So I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us more about how many parishioners you see on a typical Sunday, or for maybe other ministry work throughout the week?
Yes. So on Sundays, we are 300 plus every week. We have an online membership that's also over 100 plus as well. So Sunday is our largest number. And during the week on Wednesday night, we have our midweek services on Wednesday at 7 p.m. We average just over 100 in person, but several online as well.
So, since you say the Emerson redevelopment has begun, and it seems that you were sort of your agreement with the shopping center was terminated, what have your parishioners been doing since?
We have been parking along the barrier wall, going up past Family Dollar. We're within the shopping center. We have been parking within the community. And we recently, as a result of over a month and a half ago, we are providing shuttle services across the street where West Side Skill Center is.
So how do you shuttle them?
We have our buses.
The church van goes across the street?
That's correct.
Okay.
And because otherwise, right now, when we fill up this lot right now, if we go there today, it may be only 60 spaces. And they keep coming down. They're supposed to be doing an overhaul of the lot, and that may not be done until the end of June.
Okay. Do any parishioners do any of them maybe park at the west side across the street and then walk across?
Yes. So our shuttle service only lasts until 10:30. That's when our services start. So anybody after that time has to park over there, walk down, and then cross that busy intersection on Emerson.
Have you guys considered officially changing the street address to Emerson Avenue?
I can't say that's been under consideration. How would that? Can you talk about the benefits of that, or
is it?
Yeah, the Department of Planning staff report, I think Mr. Berry mentioned the way the zoning code defines the front yard is based on the street that gives it the address. So here, because of the history, it sounds like of the lot consolidations, it ended up that the lot shown on the property, shown on the screen, outlined in blue, has a Woodridge Road address, which means Woodridge is the front yard and which drives the need for this variance request. And it was observed that were this a 4,000 block of Edmondson Avenue address, that'd make the rear yard where the area that's proposed for the parking lot would be the rear yard, and therefore it wouldn't require any variances because parking typically is allowed in the rear yard by right, and the fence could be larger.
Yeah. A simple address change could possibly eliminate the need for a variance. So I was just asking, has that been considered and explored?
I think that's something based on our council that hasn't been a range of advice that was pushed primarily. Yeah.
Could you discuss what your outreach has been like from the community since before you filed your application and since you filed your application?
Okay. I can tell you as of recent, we have from December 2025, we adopted Sarah's House. And with that, we provided over 80 gifts for the children that are at that location. And we provided for the parents gift cards and helping them during the holiday season. Also, Oxburg Senior Center, we provided gifts and fleece and things of that nature and care packages for the residents that were there. And at least 50 plus of our members were there to be able to support in that effort as well. Also, during the holiday season, during Thanksgiving, we provided over 100 plus holiday baskets, and we partnered with at least 5 schools in the local area, including Emerson High School, as well as others.
Okay, have you had any direct conversations with any neighboring property owners or other community members specifically about the parking issue?
Yes. I'm the newly appointed minister. As of July, I'll be there about a year. And we've talked to several of the associations, and I've heard them out on their opposition. And as I've mentioned before, we don't want to be at this table. We haven't had to be at this table. For 50+ years, we've had access, but now we're disenfranchised to the point that our membership is, we're trying to look at what options that we do have. And we looked at a parcel of ground that was already open to say, hey, can we create this 42 space spot? And that would definitely help us for our handicap and our seniors not having to deal with that transportation piece across the street. We're just trying to find something that will alleviate that. We're also looking at other shuttle park and ride capabilities. That's not something that we want to ideally deal with, but this is what presents itself right now. So we're trying every measure, and we're open to other opportunities to see what can help us in that process.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I wanted to pick up on something you said earlier because I don't think I heard it correctly. When construction is complete on the shopping center, do you anticipate, like, let's say, would your
Yes.
lease be restored, essentially? Or you don't know?
That's what we're not clear on totally. We have asked the owner to guarantee us spaces. They've been unwilling to do that. They have indicated you guys are fine and okay. We're still in talks with, maybe something we have to lease, but the amount of space, you go from several hundred spaces to down to 60 to where we are now. We're looking for spaces every day. This is something that we got a team looking at to see what can help us in this process. Along with the space that we currently use, the Enid Pratt Library also shares that space when they need it as well. So.
Okay.
So if you look at the parking lot along Edmondson Avenue, there are two lots in effect separated. So there's construction underway on the western part of, let's say, a little over half, which is for commercial use, and there's a potential commercial use on the eastern side, but that's not so. What my understanding is that for the time being, there's part of the lot, but it's less than half of the 100 spaces they have available to them.
And they're gonna be pads, sites. So
when the
it'll
pad,
be less
when the
parking
new,
anyway.
Pardon?
Be less parking anyway, because
It'll
it'll
be
be pad
parking.
sites.
That'll be parking anyway along Edmondson Avenue for one or two commercial
And
uses.
presumably the tenants at the pad sites will want parking for their,
Exactly.
for their customers.
Yes.
And I can see it on the map, but just to be clear, the space that you're proposed right now, if I were to walk onto the property today, it's open green space.
Yes, currently, yes.
It was a house at one point.
It was. We tore it down.
It was
cleared
it was a house
That
that
was
was
one of the lots that got consolidated.
And how is it currently being used? How's it?
It's just open space. When we have our community day, we put the bounce house and other things. We utilize it for community things that we may do. It's currently fenced. Yeah,
Would it remain fenced as a parking lot?
it will. It's a temporary fence currently, but we will customize the fencing for security purposes and things.
So
of that
there
nature.
would be it would only be open when the church is open and would need to use
Primarily.
and then it would be locked
Yes,
other times when
that's
there's
correct.
no staff on site at
Right.
the parish.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the requested requested variances is to allow the 6-foot tall fence in that rear.
No, it's on the corner there, yeah.
Because it's technically the front, and so that you need unlike the other case where there was R8, this would be R5, where there's a front yard requirement. So to have a 6-foot fence in this zoning district does require the variance.
Okay.
And as I said, the landscaping plan, site plan that was approved by the site plan review committee included fencing and an extensive landscaping plan as well. Parking in and of itself is considered an accessory use, so it's permitted. And certainly it's convenient, the most convenient parking available to the parishioners. Just to reiterate, I think planning pointed out, I'll reiterate certainly the uniqueness of having a property that's over the years has been consolidated with 5 different street addresses potentially. The issue of the consolidation We were not involved at the beginning of this project when the civil engineer was involved they really focused on getting the site plan review approval. Consolidation is certainly a possibility, and we've talked about that most recently with the church. And it might be pursued if for some reason the board was not able to approve it today. But I hope the board can approve it today. I think it meets the standards for uniqueness required by the zoning board.
Any other questions before we hear from the opposition?
I just want to clarify for the record, so according to the SPRC, because these are documents that the other folks attending don't have access to, can you pull up, there's one that shows trees. I think it's like the next, there we go.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on that parking lot design? Thank you. So so folks can see what the finished product will look like prior to them giving their testimony, recognizing that there's plans for medians, plantings, trees.
Yes.
Fence.
And I just said, those were added at the request of planning's landscaping staff to have it, the interior of the lot be more shaded and landscaped.
Mm-hmm. And then do you have specs on the fence? Like what type of fencing?
I don't have that information available with me.
Okay, because that didn't come up in SPRC, like what they want the fence to look like?
No, there wasn't a design at that point.
Okay.
That would, presumably, if this is approved, it would go back as a building permit, it would be sent to planning, and if planning has questions about the design, they can deal with it at that point.
Yeah, I think when we shift to opposition, just so you can think as you're listening to other residents make comment, coming up with a clear plan of what the fence will look like, I think is going to be really helpful for residents to fully picture what the changes might look like on the property.
Right.
I could see a very secure iron fence being the best choice, that can be locked and tall and eliminate access, because that came up in some of the concerns. So I think, like, just so that we're clear, these are all important details to share with the community, because a lot of their concerns, I think are, not all, but some are addressed with the new site plan. So just wanted to make sure that everybody was operating on the most current information of what the parking lot was going to look like.
No, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay. If no other questions at this moment, if you are planning to speak in opposition, please stand. You can come to the lectern. Make sure that the light is green. And please state and spell your name before you speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Wallace. I'm a resident of the community, and I'm also the president of the association.
And this is Rocknell Heights?
Rocknell Heights, correct. Here with me are community residents, as well as another president from a surrounding association, Mr. Smallwood, and a letter was sent from Ms. Washington, who represents the Edmondson Village. She's the president for the Edmondson Village Association. And if time permits, she has requested that I read her letter, and I do have copies for
Is the letter in the record?
No.
Okay.
I do have sufficient copies.
That's what I'm just saying. If it's in the record, I don't want to, you don't have to read it, but if it's not, feel free to read it.
Oh, and can you give the spiel about if we've heard it?
Yes. So out of, out of respect for everyone's here's time,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that you guys understand that we do read the records, and applications and opposition before they come. So we try to avoid any duplicitous testimony. So if the person in front of you has already hit your points and said it, please, you don't have to hit them again, because we note it. We do note it, guys.
Understood, but I will hope that you respect everyone has taken their time to come here and give their views. So I'd like to, first of all, suggest that we are here today as a result of the trickle-down effect, or if you will, the fallout of people not understanding the importance of neighborhood covenants and the protections they provide. Yes, some language in the covenants may be disturbing, but we are well past that. That is covered with federal legislation. So asking for the changes to the covenants based on some of the information they outlined was unnecessary. Had residents not been persuaded or promised something and/or paid to provide their signatures to amend the covenants, the church would have potentially retained their parking uninterrupted. Redevelopment of the shopping center is welcome. Developers, investors, churches, and those pursuing changes that are occurring don't know, or more likely don't care, that they are not merely changes. They are in fact lasting disruptions to the footprint of our community and everyday life. What they are proposing will not meet their parking needs. He indicated 400 congregants, maybe over 3 attend on Sunday. 42 parking spaces is not going to meet their need. So there's still going to be overflow into the neighborhood. We submitted a letter that clearly and articulately pointed out what our opposition to this project is, and we do believe they are valid points. The pastor mentioned things that he does, that they do for the community. Well, that's what the church is supposed to do. But I would also like to point out that I'm not sure what his outreach to the community associations have been. I'm quite sure those that are here today can tell you they've had no involvement with the church as far as outreach. Sure, they do a back to school event. They provide food. Most churches do. But they don't even notify the community when that event is happening. We don't know until we start seeing the city coming in, setting up stages. Sorry, guys, I lost my, because he mentions a lot of things. Oh, changing the address is not going to change the situation. We're still going to have problems with parking. The church did no outreach to the association or any of the neighbors prior to this. We heard about it just by happenstance. The design of the parking lot, we didn't get that information. We're not suggesting that they have to get permission from us to do what they want to do, but we're asking that they communicate with us, because we probably wouldn't be here today had there been some real communication with the immediate residents and or the association. Some alternatives, they're already doing it. They can shuttle their parishioners. Parishioners can use Lyft or Uber. He mentioned that it's a disservice to their residents, their parishioners, to have to cross the street. Well, this is a permanent disruption to us. The city talks about green space. Why would we eliminate that green space? there was one Zoom meet, so we met with the pastor once. That was on March the 13th. Then we met with planning and some officials from the church a few weeks later. And the question that was posed was, what is going to happen when you lose additional parking? They never gave me an answer. And I'm going to let you know why this is a concern. They own multiple properties in that neighborhood. So are they going to tear down additional homes to make up for the spaces that they're losing? The pastor mentioned that there's some discussion with the shopping center owner about how they're going to retain parking space. Well, as of last week, the shopping center informed us that they're losing all of their parking. So what's the solution? 42 cars is only going to disrupt. It's not solving their solution, and you should not disrupt the integrity of our community. To the church officials, investors, developers, stakeholders, government officials, and decision makers, we're not an architectural rendering. We live there. We have to deal with the day-to-day, the disruptions. No matter how much you pretty it up, it's still a parking lot. That's not meeting their needs, and we are in strong opposition to that occurring. I'm sure I have some other points that I wanted to say, but I'm going to make sure I don't step on the others' toes. And I appreciate your time. So can we have Ms. Washington's letter submitted for the record? I do have enough copies.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. You can give them all to Justin.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have the copies? Yeah, we can give one to the church officials, and then I'll take the other ones.
I know. I'm Tanya Sarita Hawkins. I'd like to give honor to the chairperson and all of the honorable judges, as well as the clergy from the church. I am the granddaughter to the late Reverend Joseph Simon, Reverend of Fulton Baptist Church, one of the historical churches of Baltimore City, just as well as them. So I do have all due respect for you all. My concern is that they're not really talking about the impact that it has on us as residents in the neighborhood. They mention how they go back to their homes and where they're from in Cambridge, Maryland, where they have peace. As clergymen, they should follow peace with all men. That's the word of God. And we don't feel that they've been doing that. We hear about all these beautiful community developments and things that they've done, and they've clearly excluded all of us. This development, I don't know if you can pull up the one with the blue lines around the houses on the street view. We're on Walnut Avenue, which has a covenant, and I know that the covenants are kind of separate from zoning. I don't really know all the ins and outs of that. But if you go to the corner of Woodridge, where the blue lines were on that street, sir, I wanted to talk to you about how Walnut Avenue, like they keep saying Edmondson and Woodridge, but Walnut Avenue is actually one of the streets that they want to use as an exit. Walnut Avenue is a one-way street that goes opposite to Edmondson Avenue, which comes directly into our blocks, which are at in the 800 block. So right here, I'll go to the center, where the parking lot is now, okay, where the blue is, where it's undeveloped. Directly adjacent from that is 803 Walnut. Can you see that? Diagonal. So at 803 Walnut, I'm at 802, okay? They own 803 as well. So they're starting here at Woodridge and Walnut. Walnut goes opposite from Edmondson. What we have also across from their parking lot is another church. Do you see that? Now, if you go all the way to the next end, there's another church at 820 Walnut. So what's happening right now, without their parking lot, we have a traffic jam at 802 Walnut, which is my grandpa's house that I inherited, is a 10-bed assisted living facility that are for only dignitaries, city councilmen, senators, apostles we've had. We're very private because we don't advertise, but we have 5 stars everywhere. We've been in business for 35 years. Right now, without their parking lot, we have an issue with my residents being able to get visitors to from their family members with the 2 churches that are there now. One is a 7-day Adventist, the other one has services on Sunday. This parking lot that they want to put up, they have not come and talked to me. My mother passed away several years ago. I was in meetings with her about this parking lot over several years ago, and it disappeared, and now it's resurrected. My concern is that they get the okay to tear down all of our beautiful residential homes on Walnut, which they want this parking lot to exit to get to Woodridge. They're not considering all the bottlenecking that we're already getting. There are always accidents happening at the crossway at Woodridge and Walnut. There's a stop sign at the bottom of Woodridge, and then there's a short light just in front of the library. All of this bottlenecking is happening in the faces of our homes. Our residents won't be able to get visitors. They're not offering us anything of any benefit by putting parking lots on that corner, and then they're going to come right after us at that 803 Walnut because they own that too. They're just tearing down our beautiful Victorian community. We have big, beautiful wraparound porches. I particularly love putting all my flowers up. They're not talking about any air studies for emissions. They're not offering us any of the other churches or anybody any access to these parking lots. It's just, listen, we're losing our parking lot from the reconstruction of the shopping center. Deal with it. We're buying up everything around you. We're going to tear it up and make it all cement. And you guys have to deal with the storm drainage issues that we're going to have. They haven't considered the air quality and the pollution, any testing on that. They have not been very honest about how they're planning to exit out of these parking lots to us. It keeps changing. Oh, it's going to exit at Woodridge. No, it's going to exit on Walnut, which goes opposite from Edmondson Avenue. So this is a method of disaster to us because we don't see the light and the vision that they have. All we see is we're buying up everything around you. They bought up all of these houses. Our covenant says that anything that's built on Walnut Avenue, the covenant is specific to Walnut Avenue. It says that it has to be mirroring the structures that are already there as homes, and it also has to be, if anything, a park or something of that nature. They have not even talked to us. All these beautiful community events, I know that jealousy is not of God, but I'm particularly jealous that they have never come to us right on the opposite 2 houses over. I'm at 802. Never brought us one food basket from those beautiful Thanksgiving and Easter and Christmas baskets and food drives and all that, to not one veteran, not one retired school teacher that I care for, not one reverend or apostle that we've had. We've been in business for 35 years, and they have never come. And they do all this bragging, but you better be honest. You never came, never once, offered, not even during COVID. And that's all I have to say. Consider, if we came to your house, would you like us to put a parking lot in front of your beautiful home or beside your beautiful house and block up all the traffic from your beautiful dignitary families to get in and out, to get to services? The only people that benefit from this church are their members, their tithe payers, and they should get benefits. But if you want to inconvenience an entire neighborhood and take away the peace of these retired teachers that I take care of, they don't deserve to not be able to get their loved ones and their grandbabies. They're having to park 2 blocks up with the 2 churches we have now. They're not offering anything of help to anybody else but their patrons, and that's it. And they're already parking on our block with all the other churches. I particularly have to park on the next street or in the alley on the next block to get to my business, to take care of my patients and their families. And I really don't appreciate the lack of consideration. It sounds good on your side, but you're not considering all of us that live there full time. And that's the end of my story. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We asked one question for, I mean,
Yes,
I
sir.
forgot your
I'm
name.
sorry,
You raised the concern about the traffic, and the board has the power, I'm not sure if that's their desire, but to create a condition about exiting. So if the board were to approve the parking, would you have, what would you prefer, you're proposing the exit be, given the concerns you raised, is there a better way, in your opinion, to have traffic flow?
So here's the other thing. Right now, where they want to exit on Woodridge, we have the development of the shopping center and the Zoom call suggesting that the alley directly behind the shopping center is being turned into a street as well. That is going to exit one way right there at that corner of Woodridge and the shopping center at that stop sign. So you see where their church is right now? There's a house right there. Let me see if I can make it. Let me see where I'm looking. Okay, see the bottom blue area where it comes up to the shopping center right there at the very bottom triangle, right? The far right blue part. So they want their parking lot to exit right there on Woodridge and come to the left, right? Well, they're turning the street, the alley that's behind the shopping center now, they're widening it right now because Meals on Wheels is going back there. They're forcing all of the tractor trailers that are going to be servicing the shopping center to exit and supply the shopping center from the back and not the front anymore, which means that all the tractor trailers are going to go in that back alley, which is being turned into a street, and they're all going to exit right where the blue is, where the church is in the front. Meals on Wheels has 45 fleet trucks separate from the shopping center's tractor trailers. They have 35 employees and 45 fleet trucks that go out daily. They're all going to be using this end to exit the neighborhood to this one stop sign and this one street light in front of the library. So we're looking at a traffic jam from all directions. We have the shopping center tractor trailer food deliveries all day. We have Meals on Wheels with 45 fleet trucks, 35 employees, they're making that a one-way exit, which is meeting right up to their parking lot exit. If they exit on Walnut Avenue, the only option they have is to go on Walnut, go straight up and maybe whip all the way around, or go up to Walnut and exit, which bottlenecks them right back to Woodridge. And all of these traffic jams are going to be stuck right here with all the shopping center traffic, Meals on Wheels and everything right in the bottom of that circle. And that's where our houses are. My veterans who have PTSD don't need to hear all these trucks, all this beeping, all these accidents that are already happening. They don't need all of this traffic. They need their loved ones. I'm already, with all the banging, with all the shopping center reconstruction, I'm already dealing with lots of jumping and all of these things. The church has never offered any of us any parking or offered us any help with, hey, you can come and use our parking lots. They want to get this parking lot, and then they want to go right on over across the street from my facility at 803. Once they get approval on this one, they want to come right directly across the street from my facility and get approval, and that'll be the next fight. The covenant says that these areas should mirror the neighborhood. They should look residential and kind. The trees have to be cherished. It should be a park or something like that. I can put the covenant into the document, sir, if you want me to. The original and the amendment, there was one amendment further on the other end, but not on this end, so that doesn't impact the covenant that says that we are protected on the Walnut Avenue, and they keep avoiding saying Walnut Avenue, and they keep saying Woodridge. But when you look at that picture that you guys showed us today that we never saw until today, you will see that they have a substantial exit pointing to Walnut Avenue right in front of another church that parks and blocks up the block already. So they're not even considering their fellow churches in the neighborhood at all either. And he's been in the meetings, he didn't know anything. You know, they're not even offering them parking for their people because it's like Samantha said, it's not even going to be enough for their people. And listen,
They have a very reputable relationship with the mayor. The city has bought West Side Skill Center. The building has been empty for years. They've been parking their patrons over there successfully, and as he said, he's been shuttling them. We don't understand why the commercial establishment doesn't continue to work with the city to put parking at West, it's substantial parking there. Nobody's there. They just put store a bunch of city vehicles there, but there's parking all the way around the other side. They never even considered just leaving it there instead of disrupting all of us that live in our beautiful neighborhoods. We plant our flowers and we're gonna have to deal with all these emissions. But I'll let John come in and say some of the more detailed things. But that's just my ticket.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm John James. I'm part of Royal Heights Community Association. And also, I'm a homeowner on Walnut Avenue. I've been a homeowner there for almost 10 years, and I've seen the changes that's been going on in the community, especially with the Emerson Village Community Center, you know, with the parking spaces, okay? So it seems like with the back parking lot that the church is opposing to have, it's affecting the aesthetics of the neighborhood and the property value. You know, normally when you put a parking pad or parking lot in the middle of a neighborhood, it brings down the neighborhood value, okay? So Tanya spoke on a lot of stuff that I was going to speak on. Also, we have petitioned, we have over 300 signatures that oppose to this parking pad. And like Tanya said, if they get approved for this parking pad, they're going to go across the street and try to get that.
At 803.
At 803 Walnut, okay? So, and then you have that church, 7-Eleven Walnut there, you know. Are they sharing the parking lot with them? Because they get funerals like candy. I mean, they always have funerals over there. You also have a church up the street, 810. You know, it's 3 churches right there. You know, are you willing to, you know, share those spaces with the other churches? Because when all those churches, when Sunday comes, all those churches are inactive, except for the Seventh-day Adventist church on Saturdays. But Sunday come, that whole strip of Walnut, Woodridge, and everything else is packed, you know, and the residents that's living on that area cannot park. We have a hard time finding parking space, you know. I went to see the pastor a couple of years ago, and I was concerned about, you know, certain things about what they was going to do with the parking lot over there on 803. And, you know, he didn't give me any definitive answers because it was before you came. Okay. No definitive answers because he said he wasn't sure on what he was going to do with it, you know, and we was definitely concerned that they was going to make that a parking pad in the middle of a neighborhood.
Beautiful neighborhood.
A beautiful neighborhood, you know. Royal Heights been in existence since 1845. I mean, it's been known to have beautiful walking paths and just beautiful trees that go across the border there. The beauty of that Walnut corridor and that Woodridge, they had the privilege to walk to the Emerson Village Shopping Center, you know, with no problem, you know. So, you know, I'm deeply apologize that you guys are losing your parking space, but it's also affecting our residents. It's also hurting us. And like I said, property value will go down, and also the crime. The crime. Now, a little further up there is a gas station where we have the drug boys, okay? Who's to say that they're gonna come down on the 800 block or even on Woodridge where that space is and congregate? We already having problems with the school kids congregating up on Walnut and in front of Popeyes. We had a serious murder. When was that? Year and a half ago? Yeah, kid got killed in front of Popeyes. Okay, so and they haven't. I know you saying you have programs for the kids and everything, but when them kids leave school early, they walking down those streets and everything. They're gonna see that parking pad. They're gonna congregate. Okay, you're saying that you're gonna have it locked up or gated. Okay, even to get the one at 803, that's not locked up. I do see some kids walking through there. At times. But we never got the assurance that we should have gotten, even something in writing or something saying that, hey, this is what we're going to do, guys. We need this. Nothing was said. Nothing was heard. Because I'm a part of the community, the Rona High School, board, I was able to get all the help with this information and try to talk to my neighbors on Walnut about what's going on, because a lot of older, residents don't know what's going on. You have a lady on 807, she's 80 years old. She don't know what's going on. John, they're building this, and then I have to talk to her. We have community meetings with Meals on Wheels, and then that's another thing. Everything is going to get bottlenecked right there on Wood Ridge and that light right there in front of that church, especially when Meals on Wheels come, and then you have the red light coming.
Yeah.
The red light is coming soon, right down Emerson Avenue, okay? So it's going to be a total mess within the next year. But for opposition purposes, we got over 300 signatures saying that they do not want those pads become a parking lot. They were beautiful homes at that time, okay? The church bought both lots. They bought the one that used to be what address that used to be? 710? It has to be 710 Walnut, and the space across there is 803 Walnut. So the church bought 803 in, I think, 2015, and I can't remember when they bought the other pad that's behind them. But we really understand the parking needs that you guys are going through. But to us, it's like, okay, is the other church right there gonna share the parking pad? Or even if you try to get 803 parking pad, no. It's all about that one church. You have 4 churches in the community? You got 810, you got 711, I think you got one on the other side, right? You got all that going on, but nobody's sharing. Because when 711 has, when they have service or funeral services, they all right there along with all over the place. And then I can see it now. They're gonna have their funeral services, and that parking pad gonna be empty because they want to allow to share the parking space. If this is supposed to be community, and communities share with each other. And I understand that y'all guys do a lot of, outreach to the community with certain little things, and you want to do amusement for the kids. Those are wonderful ideas, but you have to share with the community. You can't be all about your church and your parishioners, okay? Because that one church should not be able to have a parking lot in the middle of our community. And this community's been standing for years. Beautiful single-family homes. And we're servicing the public. We have homeless veterans that we're servicing. We have nursing. We're doing a lot of community work under the eyes of the churches. They don't know. We have veterans in a couple of those houses. Homeless veterans that we house. We've been housing for a long time. But to put a parking pad right there behind the church, I understand the need, but 40 parking spaces is not going to do the solution. You know, it's not going to be the solution. And when we met with Trend, when we meet with them? Last week, even before then, they kind of gave them a promissory voice saying that we're not going to touch that pad in front of you guys. And all of a sudden, they cause a disruption like a domino effect, you know, by saying, oh, psych, we're gonna put a bank there. We're gonna put something else there in front of you, and we don't care what you guys do. And by them doing that, it caused disruption throughout the whole community. Because I'm quite sure, I'm quite sure the church wasn't trying to put a parking pad there because they was under the notion that they was gonna have that front, right in front, and they was gonna have their parishioners park in front of their church, which it should be, even with the library. But they did an okey-doke. They did an okey-doke on you guys, and now they're reaching to try to mess up the community with this parking pad. Now, and the only thing that caused it is a total disruption of the whole neighborhood. A total disruption. And it's going to be. What are they going to do with the drug boys? What are they going to do with the drug boys?
Oh, we don't do that.
Okay.
To us.
Okay. So, what are they going to do with the drug boys? They're going to come down there on those empty lots. And believe me, if those gates are unlocked and it's Saturday night and it's dark out there, they're going to be in there. They're going to be in causing problems. And then, as you know, Channel 11, somebody got killed in there. Okay? So the community is really concerned about them having the parking pads there. Because if they get approval for that parking pad right there behind the church, it's all gain for the other one. And then they got that house right next to the parking pad. Who's to say they can tear that down? They own that. They own that house. They can tear that house down and extend the parking pad. And they even own the house on the corner. I think that's that child care center right there on Emerson and Walnut. It's a beautiful child care house. Only thing that's stopping them is those two houses in the middle, 702 and 704, for them not to tear that whole strip down and make all that a parking pad for their parishioners. But like I said, we do understand the need, but at the same time, it's going to disrupt the whole community. The whole community. Like I said, I work in the community. My job there is to find homeless people and house them, get them off the street. And then the kids on Emerson Village, the school. That's another thing, So it's a lot that's going on in that little area there with the parking pad, with everything that's going on in Emerson Village. Look, I accept change. We welcome change, but that particular change is going to be a problem to the community. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just wanted to add one quick thing that came to my remembrance. My mother, the late minister and evangelist Beatrice Hawkins, was actually in communication with your dad. And I understand your father may have been sick, and we've said prayers for him. They had some disagreements because originally it was not going to be, the parking lot was originally not going to be on the corner of Woodridge and Walnut. It was originally going to be at 803 when the house burned down there over 10 years ago. My concern is that once you get approval for this lot, then you're going to jump over on 803 when we're already in a traffic jam from the other two churches. And that's pretty much it. I just want to know if 803 is going to be connected to this case, Chairperson. It hasn't been mentioned at all.
This is only for this case. That will have to be a separate application.
Okay then, sir. Thank you.
And I guess to clarify, because it's worth raising, it's come up a couple of times, that the 803 is zoned R5. And if it were only a parking lot, it'd be a principal use parking lot, which requires a conditional use ordinance to be approved. So that would require
City Council,
the council member to introduce legislation and a conditional use hearing to be held by the council. So there'd be a separate process. So it'd have separate posting notices and separate everything would have to go through separately. It would not be attached to this at all.
I promise you I won't be long, just less than 30 seconds. Just to piggyback on their concerns, well, all of our concerns about buying up all the property, the church in question at 711, they have even reached out to that pastor, Pastor William Leidy, to purchase their church as well. So it's like you're just trying to take over the entire neighborhood. And I know that many people are reluctant about going against the church. I want to make it very clear, we're not going against the church. I want y'all to understand that. We're trying to preserve the integrity of our community. That's all it is. Okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna try to make it short and sweet. I could easily say this is my mom's fault.
Your name, sir?
My name is Derek Ellis.
You spell Derek?
Darikkellis, last name. I used to live at 710 Walnut Avenue. My parents sold that lot to the church in 1984. They told my parents that they were gonna make an office space because they couldn't expand the church their way or put a parking lot due to the covenants. But I guess over the time, they were able to wait to change the laws and the rules and regulations so that now they changed the address. So it was just a matter of waiting for the community to relax so they can do what they want to do. They purchased 710, and then I think it's on the side where Emerson Avenue used to be another building, used to be Century 21. So they had to build that way where the Century 21 was and not on the Walnut side. So I commend what the church is doing. They're a great church from what I know. I've dealt with them. But you have to consider the neighborhood, the people that live in the neighborhood. Every Sunday, I can't get out my driveway. You have officers, off-duty officers. The people attend the church, they don't obey the stop signs. They stop the people in the flow of traffic so that their members can get through instead of having them use the path of the stop signs. And that's now. So when they had put this parking lot of 710 Walnut, from my understanding, they're gonna come up Walnut. They own the house, I believe, which is 706. They will enter there and then exit onto Woodridge and go to the left because that's the fastest way out to Emerson Avenue. They're not gonna come out Woodridge and go down Woodridge. They're gonna make a left on Woodridge. And then all that traffic coming up Walnut is gonna impact not just that church, but the residents as well that's on the 700 block and the 600 block of Walnut. And it's gonna be packed, it's gonna be traffic jam on Emerson Avenue. It's just not an ideal space for a parking lot. It's excellent now as a green space. Like you said, you put your bouncers there for the kids, for the community to do certain events. To me personally, I can't speak on no one finances, but to me, like other churches have done in the past, you guys have outgrown that space. Let a smaller church come in, take over, and you can move on, and then everybody be happy. Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition? Mr. Berry, you guys want to respond to what you guys heard today?
Let me ask the Reverend first. As I mentioned previously, it was never our intent.
Turn the microphone.
As I mentioned previously, it was never our intent to disenfranchise the community as a result of what has happened to us, even with the purchases on the end of Walnut and adjacent to that open green space. We zoned that for a daycare center. We're still in thoughts of renovation to open that back up. And also adjacent to the green space, that was a senior house for at least 4 of our senior sisters, but they've all since passed away. And again, there's a rehab and development for that. The idea was not to purchase the properties, to tear it down, to make it a parking lot. That was not the intent. And as I mentioned, as a result of this development, where we've been having a hard time trying to negotiate an agreement with the Trend, the ones who own the current lot, we are trying to look around to see what can help us to ease the current burden that we currently have. We are a growing congregation, and as a result of that, these encumbrances become difficult. We asked about Walnut some years ago, 7-Eleven, that congregation there, about access to the parking or purchasing. We are looking around to see what we can do to help aid in that particular effort. So we are consulting with various groups. We're looking at what would be best for us. We want to reside in the community. We've been there over 50 years. We're not a fly-by-night organization, regardless of what others may want to say. We are here to do good in the neighborhood. We don't want to disenfranchise any of our neighbors. We realize this is a burden right now. We realize the 42 spaces would not suffice for everything that we have, but it will ease part of the burden that we have. And we may utilize what we can in Edmondson Village, utilize Westside Skills Center, and what we currently have, especially for our elderly community, being able to access our building directly from that parking lot. That is our current goal. We don't have 803 on the radar or anything like that. We know that's not zoned in. But our intent is not to disenfranchise our neighbors, it's to welcome our neighbors and serve our neighbors. And as we have done over the course of the year, we are continuing to make outreach efforts. We don't want to leave the neighborhood. We don't feel like we should be forced out when we have been a force for good over the course of time. And it's disheartening to hear that, some of your residents want you to pack up and move on. But we're working to change that narrative. We don't reach out enough. But our effort and our ultimate aim is to do good in the neighborhood. We want to continue to serve like we've been serving. And this 42 space lot will help us ease the parking burden that we currently have. So we are continuing to explore other opportunities that may help us in that effort.
I'll just add that this is a permitted use. The property cat-a-corner to it that kept being brought up, which is a vacant lot owned by the church, is not a permitted use and would have to require, I believe, city council approval, as Mr. Williams said. We're here because there's an existing situation that was not caused by the church. You've got an existing situation with other churches, the revitalization of the Edmondson Village Shopping Center, which I think, the city and certainly I hope the neighborhood is looking forward to. We're not part of that revitalization, but we're certainly impacted by it. We're here because of a quirk in the zoning code that requires us to get variances for something that if we change the address, we wouldn't be here. So from that standpoint, if we do nothing, then the problems with the shopping center, the problems with the two churches, the problems with access and parking on the streets are still there. I think it's fair to say that we've heard some complaints about notification, and we've heard some complaints both on church events as well as this particular process. Apologize for that. Certainly we can do better, but I want to focus back on the fact that this is a property that meets the uniqueness standards. It wasn't caused by the church, it was caused by the zoning code. And we think that the plan itself is well landscaped. We went through the city's approval. The complaints about Edmondson Village Shopping Center and what might happen, we're not involved in that. I can only presume the city planning department was involved with how that traffic plan and commercial development would impact everyone. I would hope the board would narrowly look at what we've asked for today. The church is certainly, I don't want to speak for the church, but the church has indicated that they will continue to outreach with the two neighborhood organizations. We can put that on the record. We think the board has sufficient reason to approve this appeal today.
Mr. Berry, can you talk about and it might be helpful to pull back the site plan. Can you talk about the traffic pattern proposed? That wasn't quite clear to me.
Yes, the Walnut Avenue access is really using an existing driveway. I did speak to the engineer about this, and to the extent that, frankly, Walnut Avenue isn't needed for access. We could access off of, and we gain some additional parking by doing that.
So you would so you're saying you could access off of Woodridge.
That's right.
And you would gain additional parking. What was the choice to have the entrance on Walnut?
Well, they're both two ways. So
Walnut is one.
No. I'm saying the entrance and exits to the parking lots could go
So
in.
there's two exit /
Yeah, that's
entrances.
right.
One will be located on Walnut, one will be
On
located
Woodridge,
on.
that's right. And the Walnut was using an existing curb cut, that's all. But if for some reason because the traffic patterns are concerned by the neighbors, Walnut's a lovely street, there's no doubt about that. If there was satisfy to some extent traffic issues, then the traffic could be restricted to Woodridge. And we gain more parking by doing that.
Yeah, I think that might, I think here's where I'm at right now. There is certain thresholds within the zoning code that we have to meet in order to make certain decisions. It's on the applicant's part to demonstrate that they are within those sort of legal bounds that we are held subject to. And I think, but I understand the neighbors' concerns around the traffic patterns and the challenge on the one-way street, especially given all the other churches in the area. None of this was caused by the church, but I think we do have to sort of look at what happens when you concentrate vehicles and change traffic a little bit, right? Like with any construction, whether it's a parking lot or a new business, we look at how the traffic patterns might impact nearby properties or neighbors in a challenging way. So I think that would be an interesting condition, is to limit access to Woodbridge Road and then that way people aren't exiting Edmondson essentially to go up Walnut, potentially use that I think would eliminate some of the impulse to park on the street. Obviously, it's not illegal for parishioners to park on the street, but that might change the traffic pattern to reduce that.
Well, it orients the parking more to the Edmondson Village Shopping Center parking lot rather than the neighborhood.
Yeah, and it just makes, it also will probably make a little more sense because it's the light, right? Like, and so then you limit the volume of traffic going onto the interior of the neighborhood, which I think would at least alleviate some of the neighbors' concerns. Wouldn't eliminate them completely, but it would alleviate. And given, and also I just want to offer some suggestions, not that I'm recommending them as conditions, but sometimes this is the only chance we get to offer some suggestions. I think it's 48 spaces, sorry.
42.
42. 42 spaces, you have crush times of start and end of service, special events. I think that's just not that many cars to warrant like help with traffic control, but I think there could be some improvements if you have just as a suggestion, not related to this case, but if you have access to that large parking lot across the street, and Mr. Berry could probably assist with this, it would be worth looking into potentially changing the signal timing on Sundays. That's something that could potentially happen. That would increase the crosswalk time for residents to get across the street that are able to walk. And I think, for my benefit, if I knew it was a sure thing to park in that lot and I'd be rolling the dice parking in the small parking lot and I'm right on time for service, I might just instinctively choose that lot if I knew it was safe to cross the street and I wasn't going to wait 20 minutes for the light to turn and I wasn't going to only get 30 seconds to cross the street. And so I think some of the challenges with that site are with that crossing. Yeah. And I think we've already talked about that when we were talking about Edmondson Village changes as well. But it is very common, especially near churches, to change the signal timing on Sundays. It doesn't have impact to weekday rush hour traffic. And so my hope is that DOT would oblige that, and that would at least make the across the street parking lot a more attractive option for parishioners. Not to say that you're still not going to need some spaces on the property, but I think this also could help address some of the concerns of the neighbors of this fear of that parking is going to continue to need to be on that side of Edmondson where the parish is, knowing that you've put in the effort to make that other choice in parking as attractive as possible rather than continuing to try to expand on the side that's frankly safer, right? Like it's safer for
Yeah.
people to park and not have to cross that street, but I think there's some solutions to make that more attractive. Doesn't mean that, and then you can reserve more of that on-site space for your seniors and folks that do require nearby parking, or at least drop off, right? Like I
Well, it
need
needs
to
to
drop
be,
off.
it needs to be managed so that you don't have the,
And
people
it-
going
and
into a
it's-
full
But I
lot.
could see, I'm an able-bodied person, I'm gonna drop off grandma at the door, and then I'm gonna go back across the street and park and walk over. So there's some
Yeah.
ways to compromise here and to make it so that if the decision is reached to allow this parking space, there's continued efforts to address the community's concerns as an act of good faith. So I just wanted to put that out there as a recommendation to look into so that, because the other parishioners are gonna have to park somewhere and that
That's right.
needs, you have this wonderful access to this parking lot, it's just inconvenient. That's a good thing for your parishioners too, to have a safe way to cross from that parking lot. So anyway, I'll leave it there.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions? I don't have any other questions either.
You want to talk about conditions of limiting traffic to Woodbridge?
Yeah,
Woodridge,
I
sorry.
certainly believe that, so we're gonna go into the deliberation stage portion of it. I certainly believe that, given that Walnut is a one-way street, and there are other, sort of, places of worship, that might have intense activity also on Sunday, limiting traffic, to Woodridge, it just makes the most sense. I think that would be if we were to, grant a variance, I think that a condition that traffic be limited to Woodridge will have to be a requirement to sort of mitigate any sort of negative impacts to pedestrians and even to other traffic. I think that's a very reasonable condition. Although, I will say, although it doesn't take care of all of their traffic problems, it does, allow for them to have 42 spaces. That's, less people parking within the community. Given that, we can't have it both ways. We can't complain about the conditions of Edmondson Village Shopping Center and then complain when they invest money into putting more economic activity into Edmondson Village Shopping Center. And when that comes, there's gonna be less parking there. That is, I think we can all agree that's a fact. If they're gonna put pad sites there or banks there or whatever they're gonna put there, there's gonna be less parking for the church. And that is their right, because it's their property. And so, so we have to understand that there's gonna be less opportunities to park where this church has historically been parking, and other people in the community have been using that as parking. And so the church has, sort of land that they own where they could, have, on-site parking, especially for seniors and for other people, there. I think that would be very useful. And to the extent, I would encourage, the house of worship, that if there are ways you can cooperate with both your neighbors, not only residents, but also other houses of worship, to see how you guys maybe can find ways to let them use that on days when you guys don't have any programming. Or maybe if there's a funeral activity on Sundays or weekdays when there's no activity going on at the church, maybe that can be a place you can provide that will give, sort of service, give the community sort of relief from the on-street parking. I think that, this clearly is not the ideal solution for anybody involved, any party involved. This is a solution I think that's going to require compromise from everyone involved. Because, although they're not residents, the church is also a member of the community also. They own that property, they own it. And so, you guys all have some ownership on the future of this community. I would like to hear more about, or maybe consider sort of ways we can make sure that that if parking is on that site, it's done safely. Like to your point, maybe because it's 42 spots, maybe it's, there's no need for a crosswalk or for crossing guards and things like that because it's not as intense as a larger surface parking lot.
We'll have security on the lot.
Security on the lot. There were people brought up, the potential for loitering at that lot. But I believe that you guys have posited that this will be a controlled access with a gate that will be locked, I presume, when the lot is not in use. And perhaps that could sort of mitigate any concerns that community members have about this attractive, sort of attracting loitering from students or from any other people who might, be attracted, might want space to congregate, who don't have sort of the best intentions for the neighborhood. With that being said, though, variances are supposed to be given only when they're necessary, and if it's not necessary, if a address change would sort of eliminate the need for this variance, I would maybe encourage exploring what that would look like and how long would that take, because this problem is only caused because that of the address, essentially because Woodridge is essentially the front of the property and not Emerson Avenue. If an address change to have Emerson Avenue be the address of the property, this problem could go away. And so those are sort of the ideas that we would like to have explored, before applicants come here before the board, because variances are supposed to be infrequently given. They're supposed to be given out rarely, right? Unless they're a unique, extraordinary, peculiar, whatever the word we're using these days, circumstances involved with it. Any other, concerns?
One other suggestion, I don't know if they explored that, would be the RPP, residential parking program. It may not be relevant because it's only Sunday morning and maybe enforcement would be spotty, but that would be another way to mitigate or avoid parking in the broader community.
Yeah.
Something that they could
100%.
explore, then that could compel or ask if the church or churches could help contribute to the cost of signature collection and installing signage to start the program, but I'm not sure if that.
Signature collect. Listen, I don't think we'll have a problem with signature collection. 300 people came, so I think they got it. I think they're pretty organized when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But no, on a more serious note, yes, a residential parking permit sort of program in this neighborhood could sort of help out community members, neighborhood members to keep, to ensure that people who live here are able to access on-street parking here. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much would encourage you, to seek whatever available off-street parking you can find. Mm-hmm. And it might mean the West Side Skills Center lot. But who knows what the future of that lot holds?
Yeah.
This is a community in transition in many ways, especially this portion of the village, right? And so, they can come with growing pains. And I do hope that everybody who's around here understands, this is kind of what happens sometimes. And we hope that when this is all over, that the Rockingham Heights continues to be a beautiful neighborhood, and that the surrounding communities are just improved improved. And so that's what we all hope, but to get there is going to take compromise. And patience, I should say. With that being said, do we believe that we're at a space where we can deliberate today? Or is this something where we might want to hold in abeyance for a future meeting?
I'm ready to take a vote today.
Okay. Are you ready to take a vote? Okay, so, I will say I'll allow you to ask a question, but any sort of testimony is closed. We're at the point now we're about to vote.
I got you.
Yeah.
I was just listening to you. And if I hear correctly, if they do receive certain conditions that you would recommend them to do, like far as DOT, far as traffic lighting and other entries off of Walnut?
Yeah, we would consider conditions. I think,
But will those things be in effect, or would it have to be done first, then go to DOT? You know, Baltimore City DOT.
No.
It takes their time.
Here, is it okay if you answer? So the DOT part was just a recommendation. We can't put that, but we can put a condition that their traffic can only enter and exit on Woodridge. And the way we can do that is put the condition in their zoning resolution saying they can't build the parking lot unless they make sure that their site only has access egress on Woodridge. Does that answer your question?
So, yeah, that's my question.
Okay. But yes, you're correct. The DOT stuff out of a lot of people's hands, but something I wanted to raise so they could take better use of that parking
We
lot.
recommend, see on Woodridge and what is that street? In the shopping center, that's a two-way stop sign. That probably should be a three-way stop sign, because if they're gonna be coming up off the parking lot to Woodridge, the people that's going down Woodridge, they don't have to stop. But now they're stopping the traffic.
So that also isn't a condition we can put in
Right.
because that's gonna have to be a DOT decision. But I wanted to point out something real quick. If I can find the right thing. That's the 2 to 3 stop sign, that's a lower threshold than like trying to change a traffic light, right?
Right.
And in the letter that we got from your council person, Councilman Gray, he does express wanting to be involved in remedying some, like, supporting both entities doing the best that they can. And so I think this is a really good opportunity for you to press on him and say, this is how this could improve the situation if the church is allowed to use this as a parking lot. And I think that is a great way to use your council person. That is his job to push that forward, and that getting an additional stop sign is a much lower threshold of changing a traffic light. So I understand that I've worked very closely with DOT. I understand the challenges. I understand that there might be challenges getting your council person to work on that. That said, that is something that I want to help. I always like to use this time to help educate citizens on like other things they could do to meet their needs.
And we can support their efforts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great thing, you know. I think if you have the church and if you have the neighbors working together and say, we need that third stop sign, that's helpful. One more, go ahead, Chairperson, one more question and then we're.
yeah.
So the covenant that says that this Woodridge and Walnut sector is not supposed to have anything built on it that's of a commercial nature, is that not being considered today?
So similar to how we had an HOA, which was sort of a private contractual right,
Yes, sir.
with covenants, those are sort of like private property rights that were had that the BMZA is concerned with the land use and zoning law of the city. Those covenants are private agreements among parties, and so we cannot enforce a covenant. That's a matter that you will have to review the covenants and see what the enforcement mechanism is there, whether it be mediation, arbitration, or the circuit court of Baltimore City.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So before we can find grounds for a variance, we first have to. There's a threshold issue, whether there are peculiar or extraordinary circumstances here, or exceptional circumstances here, and so Well, I guess first I should ask. Planning Department has submitted a memo. Is there any agreement among this board to adopt planning's recommendations in their memo?
Well, it's been about an hour, so let me review. This is Justin, or Justin Williams. Where's Justin? Where's the planning? Can I just scan it real
Yeah.
quick? 'Cause it's hard for me to find,
Yeah, for sure.
find it in my files.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you. I am comfortable with including planning's recommendations in our decision.
Is there agreement among all of us that the doc planning's findings? Fine, okay. The planning department, I want to specifically call out, the planning department's found that due to sort of historical lot consolidations at this property, that there are exceptional circumstances exist that make compliance with the zoning code here pretty difficult. The practical difficulty being that without a variance, using this property as a parking lot, which is a permitted use, will be virtually impossible or unnecessarily burdensome for the applicant. And so, allowing a variance here would allow the applicant to use their property for a permitted purpose. The practical difficulty is entirely caused by the the complex nature or just the code itself, and not by sort of any actions or inactions of the applicant. And the purpose of the variance was not based exclusively on desire to increase the income potential or value of the property itself. I would add that we have that we would like to impose, I think, some conditions on any potential variance, namely that egress and ingress be limited to Woodbridge Avenue. Are there any other sort of conditions that
That's the only one that I think we can apply.
yeah.
So that I'm clear and I read it correctly, you're saying that the existing curb cut on.
Be abandoned.
On Walnut.
Well.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, it may still need to be used
for the driveway.
service or driveway, but I think if we're gating, it's gonna come down to design. But I think if we can make a condition that directs church traffic to enter and exit the parking lot from Woodridge.
Enter and exit.
Yeah, enter and exit from Woodridge, we're gonna try to limit traffic. Obviously, we can't, you're gonna need that driveway for other things. So I think if you're gonna fence the lot, maybe you have 2 gates, but you only unlock one during church service or something of that nature. I can't.
Because that driveway is shared with that the neighboring property, 706.
If I may, I would recommend, well, first of all, it's been to SPRC, but so maybe need to suggest it if it has to go back for review, but maybe then it'd be egress only, because that would be a way to be a left pork chop curve, because Walnut's one way in. And so if people do exit that way and make a loop around, that'd be on them. I don't know why they would do that, but then that would be a natural way to discourage the ingress on Walnut Avenue.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So then if we did the exit, you could exit on Walnut, but you couldn't.
It'd be impractical because most people want to get back to the avenue to go north-south, or east-west, I'm sorry.
I guess I was make whatever condition you feel appropriate, maybe even condition it or like,
Yeah.
unless
I'm gonna
SP,
just
because they
pull
wanted
up
to SPRC already, and that means DOT reviewed and
Yeah.
made findings.
Yeah.
But you said it could be encouraged or go back to
Yeah.
SPRC to,
I think the challenge, and this is again something that we can't fix in this setting, I can't see just on Google Maps, but maybe I can if I put my person there. I was gonna look and see, is there a stop sign at Woodridge? And what, there's not.
There's in front of someone's house.
Yes.
Right.
They have the right of way, no stop sign.
Right, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. So like the challenge with allowing people to exit on Walnut, they're inevitably gonna exit on Walnut and take a left on Woodridge, right? There is no stop sign. So if you're anywhere else in the neighborhood and you're trying to get out, you're gonna have to wait for all these cars to get out of the parking lot. And so I think without understanding that's the challenge, is like, I agree. Is that the stop sign at Waldwood and Woodridge?
There's a stop sign there, but nobody, there's accidents there all the time, four ways.
Okay, so I was looking at the wrong intersection then, because I don't see a stop
That's the
sign.
800 block.
Oh, I see, so I gotta go down.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's 700 right
Yeah,
there.
700.
Yeah, you know, he was talking to me, I was looking at the wrong intersection, my little. So, okay, so there's a four-way stop at Walnut and Woodridge.
Could you pan that driveway?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, is that the driveway?
Yes.
issue?
Yeah, can you
Yes.
go down so that I can look at it, kind of? Thank you, Justin.
It is providing access to that home at 706. Okay. So that can't really be gated.
Well, technically it's, yeah.
Well, I think, so here's a,
Yeah.
I still think it makes sense to do the condition on Woodridge, because
Yeah, I
I
wanna
think
keep
you're
it.
gonna, all that means is that the fence that you're designing is gonna be similar to that temporary fence that's already there.
Yeah.
Now, looks like church vehicles access the
Okay.
building from that driveway,
For servicing and loading.
which is why I was like, I bet that's like access for the back of the church. So I wouldn't wanna eliminate that curb cut, but I think we can eliminate access to the parking lot to Woodridge. That happens all the time. You just come in and
It'd
come
be a
out.
loop, yeah. It'd be, and it's only, like I said, it's 42. Maybe you gain a couple spots, actually.
It's actually gonna be better,
yeah.
because like, I don't wanna come out on Walnut, wait, queue up at that stop sign
Yep.
before I can make my left turn. So
Yeah.
if you can just get all the circulation on the Woodridge side, I think not only is it gonna keep people using that parking lot off of Walnut and backing up traffic when they exit the thing, but it's gonna be better for people using the parking lot too.
There's a stop
They
sign,
still have the
there's a
same
stop
issue
sign
at
at
the
Woodridge.
other end of Woodridge.
All right, we've gotten a lot of, I understand, this is where the chairperson's comment about compromise
Yeah.
comes into play.
So, and I will also encourage, the community to explore a residential parking permit program also, to sort of also discourage parishioners from parking within the neighborhood on Sundays. And so, with those imposed conditions and accepting the remainder of the planning department's findings, I am a yes for the variances to, require front yard and require corner side yard for this property.
So the full list of relief requested, just so you're aware, it's not like you're yes to all of them, would be the perimeter fence and the location of the parking being in the rear.
Yes.
And then, so that I'm clear, on the only formal condition is the limiting ingress egress from Walnut Avenue, and then the rest are encouraging RPP.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Did everyone vote?
I'm a yes. To all of the above.
Yes, or yes, to all three. Thank you, thank you guys, appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much for your
Appreciate your time.
suggestions.
Thank you.
So we can go off the record.